Your sister is the person who stole your money, and the police were called.
She told me that I can use her card.
You're telling me that after she called the police, she still gave you permission to use her card?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're not going to end up well here. Do you understand that?
This is Judy Justice. Jada Maxwell is suing her sister, Valastasia Maxwell, for unauthorized bank account charges and property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2191, Maxwell versus Maxwell.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Maxwell, this is your sister.
Correct.
Older, younger?
Younger.
The two of you decided to take an apartment together.
Correct.
When was that?
August 27th of 2021.
Were you both on the lease?
No, ma'am, just me.
How long did you live together?
It was about 6 to 7 months.
When did your sister leave? What month?
She left at the end of June of 2022.
June of?
2022.
Miss Maxwell, was it your arrangement that you would split the rent?
No, I would pay a portion of the rent, not split it even.
Well, tell me what a portion was.
The first month I stayed there, which was September only, I didn't pay anything. In October through November, 200, and then after that it was 400.
Well, how much was the rent?
$950, I believe.
And how many of you lived in the apartment?
Just us two.
Well, why weren't you paying half the rent?
I slept on a couch.
Oh, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor, except for the agreement. The agreement was that she would keep the apartment clean and pay half the rent and utilities.
Well, why would she pay half the rent if you get the bedroom?
It was her agreement. That was just...
No, I'm just saying, that doesn't sound reasonable to me. If she got the couch and you got the bedroom, why would she pay the utilities and half the rent?
Well, it wasn't... The rent itself was, like, she gave me what she could, but that was just our agreement. I bought the couch big enough so that she would be able to use it.
Nonsense. Okay, this is what the case is about. You claim that she stopped paying any money towards the apartment and you threw her out. And when she left, she damaged some property, and then she charged some money on either your credit card or a debit card.
My debit card.
Did you ever give her your debit card?
There was only one time when I handed her with permission to use the credit card at a gas station. That's not true.
You had a physical debit card?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and the one time that you let her use it, I want you to tell me when that was and what that was for.
It was within the time period of her living in the apartment. We were at a gas station and I was filling up. She went inside the gas station to purchase something because she didn't have money at the time, and that was it. That was the only time that I recall her ever giving her permission to use my card.
Okay. She moved out of the apartment in June of 2022, and I understand it was not an amicable process, and the police were called.
Correct.
Who called the police?
I did.
Why?
My dad gave me advice, and he said that I should call the non-emergency escort so that they can watch her, make sure that she actually leaves when she was asked.
And what day in June was this?
I do not recall the date.
You don't have a police report or a number?
Not for that. They didn't give me a police report for that.
Did they give you a police report for something else?
I have the police report for the fraud.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because it is your claim that you used the information from your debit card and withdrew a lot of money from your debit card.
Correct.
Jada hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
So you reported this to the police on August 25th.
24th.
It says reported
Okay.
8/25. How much money did she take out of the account?
At the time of that, it was only estimated about 10, but once the July statement came out, I was able to add up more, and it was nearly 14, 15 grand.
May I see it, please?
Jada hands a document to Kevin.
How did you get her banking information?
I had to call them.
Shh. How did you get her banking information?
I don't have her bank information.
Well, you took money out of her account. You acknowledge you took money out of her account.
I only took money out when she gave me permission.
No. You acknowledge that you took money out of the account. I've read your answer. How did you get her account information?
She gave me her card on multiple occasions.
You mean after you moved out, she gave you her card?
No.
Shh.
Yes.
Do you understand? You're not going to end up well here. Do you understand that? Because if she called the police, to watch you, to escort you out of the house, there is no question that she did not thereafter give you permission to use her credit card or her debit card. That doesn't make sense.
She
Do
did.
you understand? Do you understand the chronology of what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if I were to believe you, the only time you used her credit card is when you were still there. And that was prior to June of 2022.
That's incorrect.
Caption, coming up.
My grandmother passed away in August 9th of 2021, and she was my legal guardian to the age of 18, so I was under her account as a beneficiary, so when she passed, I got the money.
Velastasia furrows her brow. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jada and Velastasia.
Jada Maxwell claims her sister, Velastasia Maxwell, wrongfully took money from her bank account and damaged her property.
There is no question that she did not thereafter give you permission to use her credit card or her debit card. That doesn't make sense.
She
Do
did.
you understand? Do you understand the chronology of what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if I were to believe you, the only time you used her credit card is when you were still there. And that was prior to June of 2022.
That's incorrect.
Just a second. So you're telling me that after she called the police to escort you out of the apartment, she still gave you permission to use her card?
Yes, Your Honor. I still went over to her apartment until July 15th.
For what?
I had my stuff there that
Just to gather your things.
and she let me use her car multiple occasions to get some of the furniture that she let me have, and she told me that I can use her card.
When was the last time you visited with your sister? July what?
July 15th.
And when was the last time you used her card?
July 16th.
What did you use her card for July 16th?
Rent.
Between what periods of time did you use her card? Give me the dates.
Since September of 2021 until July 16th.
September of 21. And what was it for in September?
She would send me to the store, or if I was already at the store in her car, she would tell me to use her card or something like that. She would pay me to
How
get
much
stuff.
did you spend on her card just for you? Just for you, not for joint, not send it to the store, here's my card.
I have it here.
Tell me how much you spent on you.
I'm not sure of the exact amount.
Did the police contact you with regard to the fraud?
No.
They never did?
No.
The police report, do you name your sister as the person who stole your money?
Yes, Your Honor. The bank told me,
No, don't tell me what the bank told you. Bank doesn't tell you anything. Would you show me here, maybe I'm missing it, where you report the person who took the money out of your account?
that is the only document when I went down to the station that they gave me. When I went to actually make the file, she just asked me a couple questions, who I thought
No,
it was.
don't tell me what somebody else asked you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you report to the police that it was your sister who fraudulently took your money?
I did, but the police eventually, they cut it off because I was going to pursue small claims. They told me that they are no longer
Oh,
needed.
small claims. Why were you going to pursue small claims? How much money do you? How much money does she have? Miss Maxwell, let's get it together. Let's get it all together. Okay? You were not going to pursue small claims because you knew that in small claims you would end up with zero. You knew that.
At the time, I didn't understand what everything meant, which is why I tried calling a bunch of people, and I spoke to
No, I just want to know why at this point, because the bank gave you back some money.
Correct.
How much money did the bank give you back?
I have it here. It was about $4,900, nearly $5,000.
Okay, and they gave you back almost $5,000. I'd like to see the communication with the bank. With the bank as to, I mean, if you are alleging fraud,
Right.
if you're alleging fraud and you say that you had all of this money taken out of your account,
Correct.
okay, then there's no reason why the bank, if you were alleging fraud and they found that there was fraud, why wouldn't they return all the money?
Because they have a policy that within the 3 months, they can only go up to the first 3 months, and because I didn't realize sooner, they can only go up to that 3 months. So they were only able to give me back within the transactions within those 3 months.
Is this a savings account or a checking account?
It was beneficiary.
What is that?
When somebody passed and you get money.
Explain that to me. I don't understand what beneficiary account is.
My grandmother passed away in August 9th of 2021. And she was my legal guardian to the age of 18. So I was under her account as a beneficiary. So when she passed, I got the money.
So you were living with your grandmother?
Correct.
Okay. And what was the benefit package?
What do you mean?
How much did you get as a beneficiary?
It was about 50 grand.
On what date?
I'm not sure when it was processed, but it was opened. Payment started of October of 2021. Or transactions
I don't
started.
understand what a beneficiary account is. Who paid the money? Who paid this $50,000?
My grandmother, she would put money in there so that if something were to happen to her, the money would go to me or whoever she listed.
Your Honor, it's a type of savings account. In simple words, a beneficiary bank account is a type of savings account in which the funds are transferred to somebody else after the account owner passes away, directly to the beneficiary.
Okay, this had nothing to do with you receiving benefits through your grandmother.
No.
This is an account that your grandmother set up for you.
Correct.
Now, is that grandmother also her grandmother?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have a relationship with your grandmother?
Yes, I did.
Did she only set up the one account?
I'm not sure, but I wasn't the only one that received money.
What about you?
Nothing.
Okay, so how much is left in that account now?
The account is closed out
By whom?
at the bank. After a certain, once it goes under a certain amount, they send you a check with the rest of the money.
How much did they send you a check for?
It was about $200.
Well, who spent the $50,000?
I made transactions throughout the time period as well.
Okay. What did you buy with $50,000?
I just basically used it.
What does that mean?
I wasn't responsible with it. I'll be honest about that.
Did you know that your sister had this $50,000 amount of money?
I didn't know she had that much, no.
Did you know she had any?
Yeah.
Did you know where it came from?
Yes.
Jada shakes her head. Caption, coming up.
You have here July total $3,148.14. What does that number represent?
All transactions that were confirmed to be her added up total.
You can't use her credit card after you're not speaking to your sister.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jada and Valastasia.
Jada Maxwell has accused her sister, Valastasia Maxwell, of taking money from her bank account and damaging her property.
Now, what did you buy with $50,000?
I just basically used it.
What does that mean?
I wasn't responsible with it. I'll be honest about that.
Did you know that your sister had this $50,000 amount of money?
I didn't know she had that much, no.
Did you know she had any?
Yeah.
Did you know where it came from?
Yes.
Are you working?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a cashier.
And what about you?
I currently work at Chipotle and I also Uber on the side.
When was the last time you saw your sister?
July 16th. Or, I'm sorry, July 20th?
Are there any charges here after July 16th of 2021?
Yes, Your Honor, I actually gave that up already. In the top it says July, it's written on there.
Just a second. I'm going to give this back to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Find any charges that were made after July 16th. It was after July 16th was the last time you saw your sister?
No contact. We didn't have
Okay.
contact.
So the last time that you saw her was in July.
Correct.
Judy reviews a document.
You have here July total $3,148.14. What does that number represent?
That's all transactions that were confirmed to be her added up total in just the month of July.
Were there any?
Yes, it goes in. If it goes.
Were
in
there
order.
any charges
There were quite a few.
in August, or was July the last amount of money that you took out?
In August, the card got cut off, so there were no.
Okay, so that the most that she incurred on the card in July was $3,000.
Correct, Your Honor.
And she left on July,
She was kicked out at the end of June.
the end of June.
Correct.
Yes, June of 2022.
Correct.
And that was with a police escort.
Correct.
No.
Okay. Police watching you?
They left and I was still in the apartment.
But they were there, they were called.
Right.
Okay. Now, what property do you allege that your sister damaged? Because that's the second part of your lawsuit.
It was a couch, and
What?
it was $1,100.
Well-
I have pictures of the aftermath of when she was kicked out and what the state of the apartment was left in, including the couch.
Just show me the couch. If she damaged your couch, let me see it.
Jada hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews an image of a couch.
I can't see what the damage is to this couch.
It shows better in other pictures.
No, I don't see damage. I just see a lot of dirt.
Under the cushions, there was mold, and then there's a picture that shows 2 cigarette burns that her friend left.
Could you return this to the plaintiff, please? A lot of dirt. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
You can't use her credit card after you're not speaking to your sister. I don't believe
I didn't, Your Honor.
Yes, you did. $3,148.
I did not spend $3,000.
Kevin, these are July's statements.
Judy hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Valastasia. She reviews them.
I think one of those things is yours. The bottom document. Okay, anything else? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,148. We're done here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Jada, then Valastasia.
There was a lot more to show, but I'm glad I got something back. She took a lot from me.
I don't see how you can decide I made a transaction with my name written in pen.
And caused a lot of downfall after the fact.
She's just mad, I guess. I'm not sure.
I almost ended up homeless. I almost lost my job because of this.
I didn't cause any damage, no.
It was very hard. I didn't even want to press charges because she's my sister.
Nothing. They pulled up. They said that I had to leave. And I said, no, I already paid my portion. And they said, okay. And they left.
No, she was kicked out prior to that.
My friend did do that. I can say that. But, like,
She's just lying.
I didn't damage anything.
At this point, I don't believe her. I don't trust her. She took advantage of me.
Hopefully we can just dead it, but I don't know.
So I'm just glad that I was able to get something back so I can continue to get back up on my feet.
One day at a time.
I'm hoping for an apology, some remorse.
Who knows?
After I confronted her and she admitted to it, she ignored and cut everybody out. She didn't even say she was sorry. She didn't speak to me.
I don't know.
Sarah and Judy.
You know, it's a little bit easier now to commit fraud using someone's credit card, even if you only had access to the physical card for 5 seconds. It's long enough to take a picture of the back and input all the information into the DoorDashes, the Ubers, all the accounts. And if you don't check carefully, you may not notice for a couple months. So, I mean, I've been a victim of fraud in that way, and I know it can be very stressful trying to deal with the credit card company, and especially when it's your sister. I mean, my sister better think twice before using my credit card.
Do you know, generationally, I have a problem. It's actually my problem because I'm used to writing out a check. I have a checkbook. I write out the check. I deduct the check from my balance. I know what is...
How they taught you in 4th grade to balance
Absolutely.
checkbook.
You want to make a deposit in a savings account. We were taught you brought $2, you put it in a bank account. In the bank book every Friday, your teacher stamped it, $2. That's how you save money. And the fact that you can walk into a store and take your phone and go like that
Yep.
and charge.
And who knows
is
whose information
all
is on there.
frightening to me. It all sounds as if it's going to collapse around me. But everybody, I think everybody who's under 50 uses that, probably more than 50, because my children are actually 50. It's hard to come to terms with that. But they all use their
Online banking.
online
and-
banking.
Yeah.
I still don't have my banking online.
I know.
I still do.
Yeah.
I still call them.
Yep.
They say, it's her again on the phone.
You know you could do this
It's
online now, right?
Yeah, no. Anyway.
Well, keep doing it your
That's
way, and hopefully we don't get ruined by our way.
Yeah, fingers crossed. She seemed like a decent young woman, the plaintiff. You know, it's sad. Her grandmother saved probably all of her life so that her granddaughter had a little nest egg of $50,000, and she blew through it. Blew through it.
Unfortunate, but I appreciate the honesty.
And it was honest. Put money in trust. That's my advice.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you having a family dispute?
Footage of a woman striking a vehicle.
She hit me first, Your Honor.
And we're not talking about hitting. I'm talking about vandalizing a car.
She also threatened me with a knife.
You go outside with a knife
Yes,
over a guy.
over a guy.
This is Judy is suing her former friend, Freya Brown, for vandalizing her car and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2186, Burke versus Brown.
Thank you. Ms. Burke, I understand that you and the defendant met when you were both in foster care.
Yes,
How old are you?
19.
And how old were you, if I can ask you these questions, if you're uncomfortable, please let me know. How old were you when you went into foster care?
16, I believe.
Were you originally placed in group homes?
Yes, and through Orangewood Foundation, as well as transitional housing programs.
When did you start transitional housing from group homes?
I started that when I was 17. That was in 2021, where I was roommates with Freya, and we lived there.
Okay, and could you describe the facility where you were living?
We were living in Tustin, an apartment complex where they rent out the rooms and they have foster kids go in there and then they pay, well, they don't pay rent, but it's a transitional program to move up to the extended foster care transitional housing program for after you're 18. So it's better to be placed into this one, so it helps foundation towards the next one.
Towards total independence.
Yes.
And how long did you stay in that facility? Until when?
Like a few months after I turned 18, I got into the Costa Mesa transitional housing.
Okay, from Costa Mesa, do you go into any other facility through the foster care system, or are you then supposed to get a job and get on your own 2 feet?
So this program, the independent living program, it's really hard for foster kids to get into. You have to be set up with all the requirements. And so...
What kind of requirements? Are there academic requirements?
Yeah, academic requirements, working, going to school, meeting with the manager that comes in every week. Yes.
Were you going to school?
Yes.
What school were you going to?
Golden West College.
Are you still going to school?
Yes, I currently am taking a break from this semester, but I'm still going to continue it.
Are you working?
Yes.
And you living on your own?
I'm renting a room out in Irvine with 2 different roommates.
And Miss Brown, what about you? How long have you been in the foster care system, and how old are you now?
I've been in the foster care system since I was 13 years old. I am currently 19.
Tell me where you're living.
Right now, I live in a rented room in a house also in Irvine.
Tell me what you're doing.
Right now, I work in sales. I'm a sales associate.
Is it a full-time job?
It's part-time. I'm also in school. I go to Fullerton College, and I'm a biology major.
Interesting. Are you good in science?
I really liked science in high school, so yeah.
Well, you seem like 2 absolutely delightful ladies. I don't know why you got into this kerfuffle, but each one of you claim that you were assaulted by the other. You claim that Ms. Brown caused vandalism to your car. Ms. Brown says that you had her falsely arrested after this altercation, which seems to be an unhappy event over a guy.
Over a guy.
I mean, they're necessary evils, but over a guy. 2 lovely girls who probably weathered a lot of storms in your life to keep together that most 15, 16-year-olds don't have to do. How could 2 nice girls get into a kerfuffle over a guy?
I have no idea.
Go.
Okay, so on September 2nd, near 10 p.m., I was cooking us dinner, and Freya's sitting at the counter, and then while I'm cooking dinner, I get a call from my ex, and he's just...
From your ex-boyfriend, not ex-husband.
Oh, yes.
From your ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
Okay. And his name is, what's his first name?
I would prefer...
Let's call him Cat.
Cat, yeah. So
You get a
Cat-
call from Cat. Do you know Cat?
Personally, no, I do not know him.
Have you ever met him?
No, I have not.
Okay. So now you get a call from Cat. And how long has he been your ex-boyfriend?
Well, we just had a situationship, like it was just off and on, but he just called me and I just had him on the phone as speaker, and
So you had him on speakerphone, you're cooking her dinner, she's sitting at the counter.
yeah, and he starts making flirtatious comments like saying if I had any cute friends near around, and I know it doesn't sound right, but
It doesn't sound good, Miss Burke.
yeah, but that's just like I know him, and that's like a different story. But regardless, then
So what was
Freya-
he? I want to know what he was saying.
Well,
you
he
have to
just-
tell me because she probably remembers what he was saying.
I do.
So if you don't remember, I'll ask her. What did he say?
He asked in general if I had any cute friends near me or any around. Just saying if there was any cute friends near me, so that he.
That's not what happened.
Okay, so your ex-boyfriend calls you and asks you if you have any cute friends around,
Yes.
and you didn't just hang up on him.
Well, yes. I told him, I said that I can't like see him tonight and that he shouldn't be saying that. But the call ended because he had to go because he had to go back to work. So it ended quick.
Wait just a second. He must have said something that annoyed her.
That was it. He just asked
What did
if
he
I
say?
had.
Okay, you don't remember. What did he say?
He called her, they were talking for a minute, and then she was saying, you know, oh, I miss you, this and that. And he was like, can I come over? At which point she told him, oh, I'm with my two friends. And he was like, oh, what do they look like? Are they cute? How old are they? Which I thought was disrespectful to me and also disrespectful to her. I was trying to be a good friend. I informed her of it. And
No, so he was acting like a guy.
yeah.
You know,
Yes.
think before you talk. There's no filter here. So he's saying, oh, really? You can't come over? You have two friends? Ah, are they cute? Are they nice looking? And just to tell you, Miss Brown, I don't think it was disrespectful. I just think it's a stupid remark.
No,
Do you understand?
I understand,
It's
but
just stupid.
The tone and then the content, because it was on speaker, like I could hear everything. So
So when he hung up, what did you say to her?
after they hung up, I didn't say anything to her. She said to me, she was like, you don't know him, you know, like we're in love.
And you said to her?
Basically saying I don't know him. So I was like, yes, you're completely right. I don't know him, but I don't want to hang out with him, basically is what I told her.
Well, was he coming over?
No, I was just telling her,
Okay.
like. 'cause
And
he
what's
had
your
asked.
version? After he hung up, let me hear your version of what she said.
Okay, so after I hung up, it was just practically some of what she said, but it was more in an aggressive way and with a lot of attitude. And
Show me.
I get done with the phone and I'm cooking, and then she wants to like humble under her breath and like say like, I don't know, just rude things about the call and like just looking at me weird. And I'm like, what's the problem? And I was just,
Okay, so she's looking at you weird, and you say, what's the problem? And she says,
I don't know, she was going off and about, and then she started throwing trash on my counter and then
That's
threw it
not
at
true,
me.
Your Honor.
Yeah, you did.
That is
no,
not true.
No, I have
Yeah.
to tell you something. So far, it makes sense. But then I don't want you to tell me she just went from nothing disrespect to throwing food around the counter. That didn't happen.
That did not.
Okay, so before she started throwing the trash on my counter, she was saying how that I had attitude, but I was telling her that I did not have attitude. I was trying to de-escalate the situation by
She
talking
had
to her.
attitude. So far, we're not attitude. So far, she's mumbling.
No, that's what
you
she
said under
said.
her breath.
Yeah, and then so she, I don't know, she would, like I said, it was a snap of a finger. Like I'd never seen her switch like that. And, you know, I was confused. And then after she threw the trash, I told her to grab your stuff and get out of my house. And so I gave her time. She went in my room, grabbed her stuff. I waited by the door. I had it wide open. And she's just cursing and yelling and just like, I didn't want her in my house. And if I would have known she was like that.
Don't go down any tributaries.
Freya shakes her head. Caption, coming up.
When you got out to the car, she had a brick in her hand. Was there any damage to the car?
Yes, I have photos, proof to the left driver's side, and there's a video as well of the neighbor's Ring camera showing her vandalizing my car.
Okay, I'll see the video.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Autumn and Freya.
Autumn Burke claims her former friend, Freya Brown, owes for vandalism and an assault. Freya is countersuing for an assault and filing a false police report.
There's a piece that I'm missing from this story, but let's say they're following your timeline. It probably makes sense as you got into an argument. You said to her, you know, he's really not that way. He's really a nice guy, and I love him. And she said, well, somebody who really loves you doesn't say, I want to come over and hang out with your two good-looking friends. That could escalate into something that's angry.
Your Honor. Well, the thing is, when she did mention those things, they weren't calm as you expressed.
Yes,
they were. No, they weren't. They were very aggressive.
They could have been aggressive, but that's...
They were not.
They could
And
have been
I
aggressive.
didn't see
but-
a reason why it should have been that way at all.
Listen, I'm not saying I agree with you or not, But I'm saying that common sense dictates to me that if you're on the phone with somebody that you still like, and that you're an on-again, off-again, and you can't come over today because I have 2 friends here. Oh, really? You have 2 friends? Maybe I'll come over and hang out with your 2 friends. She found that disrespectful. I actually find it disrespectful to you and disrespectful to him. You really have nothing to do with it, Miss Brown. Somebody else was being a schlemiel.
No, I mean, I wasn't saying like,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so now you tell her to get out, open her things. She's out the door, and?
Well, no, she's not out the door yet. So then I have the door wide open. She comes, and then we're still like argumenting, and I'm trying to get her out of my house. She pushes me, and then I go back into. Yes, it is. I go back into the door, and then she starts hitting on my arm, like hitting me. So I'm like defending back, and it was just crazy. Like I didn't realize I had the door wide open for her to get out, like peacefully. And
Okay, so
that
she
didn't
pushes
happen.
you, she puts her hands on you, you put your hands on her, pushing. And up until that point, there's a lot of maybe pushing, touching the arms, touching the hand, but nobody is injured. Is that a fair statement, standing at the door?
Well, I got assaulted because I have the pictures to show that my nail came off.
No,
and-
I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
Up until that time, did your nail come off during that time?
Yes,
Was it a real nail or a fake nail?
both of my nails came off. Like it was
On the
top
same
of the
finger, you had a fake nail over your
real
nail.
and it both ripped off.
Okay,
I have
I'll take a look.
pictures.
Kevin collects a photo from Autumn, then brings it to Judy. She reviews an image of a bruise.
Okay, I see a black and blue mark here that's under here. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes, that's
And
from-
this is on your hand.
Yes,
What was this?
from blocking her hitting me.
What was she hitting you with?
Just her hands. Like she was just like a cat fight. Like she just went crazy, and so I was
Okay.
defending her out, trying
And-
to get her out of my house.
Okay. Did you respond to her hitting you?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Do you have any
felt
photographs?
yes, I do have
I'd like
photos
to
of-
take a look.
Freya hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews an image of a scratched forehead.
So I see a scratch above your eye and a little bruise on this part of your hand. Is that what it is?
Yes, on my wrist.
And then there's a bruise on, is it this part of your elbow?
My elbow, yes.
Okay, so now you're arguing with each other. You both get banged up a little bit. Now she's outside.
Yes.
And what did you do? You finally got her out the front door.
So after a few minutes, she called me and said, "Warning, I'm at your car." So when I heard that, I called the cops immediately, and I asked them to come down because I think she's gonna be vandalizing my car or God knows what. And then so when that happened, me and my witness, Jasmine, we walked down out of my house because I wanted to go see like if my car, like what was going on. And so as I'm walking out, my car's parked over here. Freya's over here. And so when I'm walking out, then I meet her right here, and she has a brick in her hand. And yeah, she had a brick in her hand the whole time until the cops came, and then they arrested her, and they asked me if I wanted to file for assault and vandalization, and I said yes.
Okay, and when you got out to the car, she had a brick in her hand. Was there any damage to the car?
Yes, I have photos, proof to the left driver's side, and there's a video as well of the neighbor's Ring camera showing her vandalizing my car.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me
sorry.
see the damage, and then I'll see the video.
Thank you.
Kevin collects photos from Autumn, then brings them to Judy. She reviews images of a cracked car window.
Okay, now I'll see the video.
Okay.
Footage of a hooded woman hitting the driver's side window of a vehicle. Two young men approach. The woman hurls a brick at the vehicle. She picks up the brick, then throws it at the car again. She repeatedly retrieves the brick, then hurls it at the car. She leaves. In the courtroom, Judy.
Okie dokie. That's where you were arrested, Miss Brown?
Yes.
Have you ever seen that video before?
I have not.
You have not?
No.
Okay. Can I see the estimates to the damage
Yes,
to your
ma'am.
car?
Kevin hands documents to Judy.
Tell me when you bought this car.
I bought this car on August 1st in 2022. It was my first car. I paid for it full, all by myself.
You paid for it in cash?
Yes, and a check.
Okay. How long had you been saving for the car?
Oh, I've been saving for it for years, like a few years, ever since I've been working.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid a total of, I believe, $7,300 and something dollars.
Okay. So the estimate to fix the car is $3,777.
Yes, ma'am.
And the next thing is the price of the vehicle, for which you paid $7,350.
Yes.
Wow. Now, Ms. Brown, one would say to you as a result of seeing that video, temper, 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 you may have a temper, you can't do what you did. Would you acknowledge that you can't do what you did?
Yes, I acknowledge.
Great. So that means that you have to take care of this problem.
She hit me first, Your Honor.
And we're not talking about hitting.
I understand.
I'm talking about vandalizing a car.
Caption coming up.
She says the weapon was a knife,
It was.
and the knife was being held by you.
Yes, that's
So you
self-defense.
took. No, it's not in self-defense anymore, madam. It's not self-defense. She's out. She's away from you.
Autumn shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Autumn and Freya.
Autumn Burke has accused her former friend, Freya Brown, of vandalism and assault. Freya claims Autumn threatened her with a knife and filed a false police report.
Neither one of you were hospitalized as a result of this assault. You got a couple of black and blue marks. Two
She
girls
also
had a
threatened
fight,
me with a
and
knife.
that shouldn't have happened. But now the fight is de-escalated, and you went outside and purposely vandalized her car in a very, very aggressive way. And all I'm saying to you is, you understand that that was temper, temper, temper. You're not allowed to do that, and you have to pay for it.
She also threatened me with a knife.
She what?
I didn't.
Threatened me with a knife.
Just a second. I didn't see that when you were out there by yourself picking up a brick, right?
Yes.
And that was a long video. I don't see her in that video at all. I just see you picking up the brick, not doing enough damage, picking it up, doing a little more damage, picking it up, going to another side of the car, picking it up, going to the front of the car. I don't see her there threatening you.
She didn't threaten me at that point.
Right. Clearly, when you left the house, that ugly confrontation had been de-escalated.
It had not actually.
Of course it was, because you were out there by yourself. You could have gone. And if it was an ugly confrontation, you go to the police station and you say, I left my license in my friend's car. We had a fight. Could you come back with me on a standby and get my license, instead of using a brick to bash in her car?
My circumstances were different from Autumn's. I would like to inform you of that.
What were your different circumstances?
Well, I was supposed to be moving in 3 days, which Autumn was aware of. So had I called the police and been like, oh, I need this help, then I would have jeopardized my housing.
Oh, no, that's not true. Sorry about that, Miss Brown. If you called the police and merely said to them, I don't want to have an argument with her, that would not have jeopardized your getting into housing. Having this fight and vandalizing her car, that could prevent you from getting into housing.
That's what got me
I'm
kicked out.
referring
I'm
to
not,
that.
I'm just telling you, calling the police is not an issue. Going outside and for a period of probably at least 60 seconds and moving from different parts of her car and hitting it with a brick and bending down and picking up the brick again, that would prevent you from getting into housing.
I wasn't referring to the calling the police, I meant the fighting.
Oh, I'm not talking about the fighting. $37.75, that's the cost of fixing the car. Now, the only other issue that you have on your counterclaim is for being falsely arrested.
Yes.
I would arrest you for that. You should be. Listen, if I came out of my house and found somebody bashing my property, I don't care if we had a long-standing feud. Well, I have a long-standing feud with her. We had an argument. We had a fight, whatever. That is not the natural progression of having an altercation with an old friend, going out and vandalizing her car. So your countersuit for being falsely arrested is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,775.
Your Honor, I'm going to be rightfully for losing my housing during that process because of that incident, because of the transitional housing program I was in. I got kicked out of it, and so I had 30 days. So I believe I should be getting for that as well because
Where's the head of the Department of Social Services to testify before me that the reason you lost your housing, if in fact you did lose your housing, was because of this vandalism? You have a witness here to tell me that?
I have the 30 days notice, if that counts.
May?
Yes.
I'll take a look.
Oh, here it is.
Autumn hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
This says, letters to give you written 30-day notice to move out of the transitional housing program. You were involved in a verbal physical altercation which involved a weapon with another individual and resulted in the police being called on September 1st, 2022. When you entered the program, you were informed and signed paperwork and agreeing to our program rules and expectations. Who was it alleged that had the weapon?
She had a knife.
I bought it
that's-
as self-defense. I dropped it
Just
right
a-
when I saw you.
just a second.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I
Just
did.
a second. But just a second. She says the weapon was a knife,
It was.
and the knife was being held by you.
Yes, that's
So you
self-defense.
took. No, it's not in self-defense anymore, madam. It's not self-defense. She's out. She's away from you. Your choice is to call the police and wait. Your choice is not to pick up a knife, because so far this altercation has been a lot of tussling between girls that shouldn't have happened, but so far nothing involved a weapon. So you went outside with a knife, and according to the rules, you can't do that. And that was the reason that you lost your housing, because there's no other reason. It said it involved a weapon, and they listed the rules: drugs, alcohol, assault, danger, making threats. Well, you have a knife, that's threats, whatever. 3775, fix your car. You're not allowed to do that to her car. That's a hissy fit. Figure out how to do it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. You should have been arrested for vandalism. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Autumn.
Well, I was in shock. I was like, wow, like over no reason, over my ex calling me, like, come on, like we're adults now. I'm gonna move on with my life and just go up from here and not down here where other people like to take me down to their level. I'm super thankful to have her handle my case today. She is a queen.
Judy and Sarah.
You know what I was really impressed with both of those girls, Sarah? You know, I know the foster care system, usually wherever it is, can be a brutal system to negotiate. And these two young women, at least on the surface, appear to have negotiated it in an orderly, reasonable way. I mean, she's living on her own. She evidently worked for a very long time because she saved up and bought her own car. That's
Yeah,
a
it's a
lot
big
of
deal.
response. That's a big deal. It's a
And
lot of
to even be able to figure out the system, which even as lawyers, sometimes we have a difficult time navigating things in the foster care system, to figure out this transitional program that better sets you up for the next step, that sets you up better for the next step. I respected that she took the time to figure out
Both of
best
them.
both
Actually,
or
both
their
of them.
best possible options for navigating the system that they were placed in.
both working,
Yes.
both going to school to try to get themselves into a better circumstance. The defendant certainly is a biology major, which is fascinating
Not
to
our
me.
thing.
Not our
but
thing.
Great for her.
But clearly, bright young women who made it to a place at age 19 that's really terrific.
Yeah.
And supportive of each other, because one had a license, one didn't, so they were supporting each other. All very lovely. And get into a kerfuffle over nothing.
It shows just how fast all that work and all that preparation for the
Can
next step
start-
and for the housing can just crumble.
Can just unravel. Really sad. That's sad. But they seem like two nice young women, and I think that they have a really, both of them have a shot.
Yeah, to make it back on track, and I hope they do.
Me too.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of an assault? Go to Judy.
Now you have the pigs,
I told him up front, I do not have the money to pay you right now.
and you paid nothing. Then you're going to pay for all of them, sir.
No,
Oh, yes.
the pigs died.
This is Judy Justice. Logan Moore is suing his family friend, Brandon Farman, for the cost of 4 pigs, a hog waterer, and lost wages.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2181, Moore versus Foreman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Moore, you're suing the defendant because it is your claim that you sold him, I believe, 4 piglets, and he never paid you for them.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what the case is about. Now, tell me where you live.
I live in Pinehurst, but outside of Pinehurst, south in a valley,
Pinehurst is where?
in Idaho.
So you live in Idaho. Is
Yes.
that farming community?
Yes, small.
Who do you live there with?
Me, my mom, and my sister.
You have a farm?
Yes.
How many acres?
Right now, 5, yes. We're working on buying land next to us.
But right now you have 5 acres. Tell me
Yes.
what you raise.
Right now, we raise cows, pigs, and goats.
You own that property?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long have you owned that property and raised those farm animals?
Lived on the property my whole life, raised farm animals since I was about 16.
And you sell them for what?
I mainly do meat animals, so when it comes to beef, cattle, pigs, meat, goats.
But you sell them on their own hoofs.
Yes, yep, on the hoof, not by meat.
And what do you do, Mr. Foreman?
An underground shift supervisor,
What is that?
underground miner.
Do you live close by to Mr. Moore?
Live a couple miles above him,
How long have you lived there?
going on 5 years.
Tell me what interest you have in pigs.
Me and my buddy, we have a hobby, so to speak. He has cattle at his place, and I have raised pigs at mine.
How many acres is your house?
Just over 5.
All you raise are pigs.
Correct.
And I assume you sell the pigs for meat.
Correct.
When was the first time, Mr. Foreman, you purchased pigs from Mr. Moore?
Probably 2 years ago now.
Okay, how many did you purchase?
The first time,
First time.
I think there's 3.
How much did you pay for them?
I don't recall.
Well, how much would 3 piglets be?
I want to say it was 400 and some change.
For 3?
Correct.
Okay, that was a couple of years ago.
Correct.
Did you sell those pigs?
Correct.
They're not part of your current lifestyle.
No, nope.
And you keep them for how long before you sell them?
Until they make a certain weight, about 250, 280 pounds.
Now, when you buy them from the plaintiff or from anybody, how big are they?
The ones that I purchased from Logan were small, probably 30, 40 pounds maybe.
So they must eat a lot for them to get to 250.
A lot.
And give me some idea, because I really don't know the answer to this question. How much would you sell a 250-pound pig for?
If they're totally butchered, cut, and wrapped, it's about $800 to $900. If I'm doing the cutting and wrapping,
And if you're not?
then I sell it for hanging weight. So whatever the animal weighs after it's butchered out, then we set a price for that. Usually $3.50 to $4 a pound.
You pay about $125 for them. You feed them for a year,
Not quite a year, but close.
okay? Well, not quite a year. And then you sell them for 6 or 7 times what you paid for them, minus the feed, whatever that is, minus what it is to feed.
Except for there's more than just the feed. There's all the time and labor it goes into cutting
Oh,
and wrapping.
absolutely.
And
But you make a profit.
make a profit, yes.
And you don't go that route. You sell them when they're young.
Correct.
That's your business, to
That
sell
is.
them when they're young.
Yes.
Okay. So the first time Mr. Foreman bought from you, evidently things went well. Tell me about this most recent sale where there is an issue.
Yes, so Brandon contacted me that I had 4 pigs available.
Did you advertise that you had them available?
I did not. I have a family member that works at a gas station that he goes to. She mentioned to him that I have pigs for
Is
sale.
that how you found out?
That is correct.
Okay, go.
That I had pigs for sale. And then he got my number from her. He contacted me, said that he is interested in my pigs. We set up a time for him to come meet and look at the pigs.
What date?
It was July 28th, 2022.
Okay.
And then he came and looked at the pigs then, and he liked them.
How old were they?
They were 2.5 months, which would be right around 40 to 45 pounds.
And you had 4 of them.
4, correct.
Is that how many there were in the litter or however?
No, those were just the ones I had left. There were 9 in that litter.
So you had already sold 5?
Yes.
And 4 left?
Yes.
Is that the time you usually buy them, Mr. Foreman, when they're 2.5 months old?
No,
How old are they when you usually buy them?
it depends.
Depends on what?
Price, money,
Okay.
where they're at.
Well, so give me a range. What?
So these ones were relatively close. I didn't have to travel far. At the time, they seemed like a pretty decent price deal.
And what did he sell them to you for?
Caption, coming up.
You want to take the pigs. You didn't have any money at the moment. And what was the deal that you came up with?
That I would pay him for them when I was able to.
Nah, that I don't believe.
That
That I don't believe.
is the truth.
Then he's foolish, because when are you able to?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Logan and Brandon.
Logan Moore claims his family friend, Brandon Foreman, owes for the cost of 4 pigs. Brandon says Logan sold him pigs that were sick.
Okay, what did he sell them to you for?
I believe for the 4 pigs in water, it was $7.20.
25, 4 pigs, and there was a water little machine that you also...
No, it was just a plastic tote with nipples on it for the pigs to drink water out of.
Okay.
There was no machine, no nothing to it.
So for $725, you got the 4 pigs and this machine.
It's
whatever.
not a barrel.
Whatever, a waterer, a hog waterer.
Correct.
Right. Anybody have a picture of that to show me?
I do not know.
I'll have to use my
Judge,
imagination based upon Mr. Farman's... Oh, you have a picture of
I
it, sir?
Your Honor.
What?
It was $740, $160 each for the pigs and then $100 for the water.
Judge, I do not. I do not have a picture of the water.
Okay.
The water was like a 275-gallon tank with 4 nipples on the outside of it at the bottom that you can fill with water. Pigs drink out of the nipples easier than they do like a dish.
Whatever. I get the picture. Okay. Now, let's say I take your number, Mr. Farman, $725. You purchased the pigs on July 28th, 2022. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you pay him for them?
At the time that I went and looked at the pigs, I told him up front, and plain as day, I do not have the money to pay you right now, right off the bat. I don't have the money. But I was under the understanding from his relative that works at the gas station that he doesn't have the time.
No. You can't tell me what the relative at the gas station told you. You went to see the pigs.
I went to see the pigs.
You went to see the pigs, Mr. Farman, and you told me a moment ago, I said, how much were the pigs? And she's going to read back exactly what you said.
You asked him, did you pay for them? And he said, at the time I went and looked at the pigs, I told him up front, plain as day, I do not have the money to pay you right now.
Before that, there was something about $725.
Okay.
How much were they? And he said the whole thing. The 4 pigs and a watering was $725.
$720 for the pigs and the water machine.
$720.
$720.
Oh, that's what you said. You said they were $720. That was the discussion when you went and looked at the
Correct.
pigs. Okay, and you said, I don't have money right now.
Correct.
And?
So then we came up with a deal that...
Look at me, don't look down. So you came up with a deal. You wanted to take the pigs and the watering thing. You wanted to take the pigs. You didn't have any money at the moment. And what was the deal that you came up with?
that I would pay him for him when I was able to.
Nah. That I don't believe.
That
I don't believe.
That is the truth.
Yeah. Then he's foolish because when are you able to?
When I was able to.
What does that mean? That means you determine whether or not when and if you're going to pay for these things that you took?
It depended on when I was able to have the money available.
That was in July.
Correct.
You work in a mine.
Correct.
You work for a company?
Correct.
How long do you work for them?
3 years.
Mm-hmm. You get paid annually or by the hour?
Annually.
And what's your pay annually?
$90,000, give or take.
Give or take a what?
I get bonuses.
Okay. You're going to get, in the month of January, a 1099. How much did you earn last year with bonuses?
I don't know. I haven't received my bonus yet.
Oh, you haven't received it yet? Okay, so it's $90,000 base pay. Who else do you support?
My wife and 5 children.
What does your wife do?
Stay-at-home mom.
When was the last time you sold any pigs?
It's been a while.
How long? Month and year?
It's been probably 6 months, 6, 7 months.
Okay. How many did you sell?
At the time, the last
6 or 7 in the last 6 months. How many did you sell?
1 or 2.
Well, I want you to think carefully. If you're on a salary and you have a wife and 5 children, that it's important if you make between $800 and $900 for each pig that you have. I want to know if it's 1 or 2.
It was 2.
And let's say I'm not going to take the higher figure, I'll take the lower figure. That's $1,600. You said between $800 and $900 each. That's $1,600 plus your income from your job.
Unfortunately, that $800 to $900 that I get for a pig, that doesn't all go to me. I split that equally with the person that I cut with, the one that raises the cattle that I spoke about.
I don't understand, sir.
I have
I
the
thought
shop. I have the space, the shop, the meat cooler, the room at my house to hang and cut animals. He comes up and he helps. We split it equally, right down the middle. So the
that
$800
you
or
split,
$900, I don't get that.
Just a second. He raises cattle,
Correct.
and you split his cattle with him, and you have pigs and he splits the pigs with you?
No. I let him use the shop and my meat cooler. The cattle's his deal, but he comes up and helps me cut and wrap the pigs.
Oh, then he doesn't get half. That's baloney. That's baloney. If you raise them, you feed them, you paid for them. If he wraps them, you're not giving him half. In any event,
it's not.
In any event, you have a job. You have a $90,000 plus job. You made a commitment of $720 to the plaintiff to pay for his pigs, and you paid nothing.
The pigs died.
Just a second. I read that here. Tell me when the pigs died. Tell me the month and day the pigs died, that you communicated with him. This pig died, that pig died, this pig died.
I didn't communicate with him about when the pig died or when.
Did you communicate with him at all? I'm sorry, when he asked you for the money.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I was.
Okay, when he said, "Where's my money?" That was in what month? I know when July 28th is when you picked them up. In what month did he communicate and say to you, "I want my pigs," or "I want the money"? Tell me.
August.
August what?
One was August 16th, one was August 17th.
Okay, so he communicated with you the 16th and the 17th of August. So by this time, you've had the pigs at your place for about 2.5 weeks, from the 28th to the 16th or the 17th of July.
And the first one had already died in that.
Just a second. During that time, now, when did the first pig die?
A week and 3 days after I got it home.
Did you tell him?
No.
Oh, then you're going to pay for all of them, sir.
What?
You're going to pay for all of them.
No.
Oh, yes.
Caption coming up.
Just show me that you said to him, one got sick, it died. I'm afraid for the others, so I just as soon give them back to you and cancel this whole deal. Show me.
I offered multiple times to take the pigs back to him and the water.
Just show me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Logan and Brandon.
Logan Moore has accused his family friend, Brandon Foreman, of refusing to pay for the pigs he purchased. Brandon claims Logan sold him sick pigs and only one survived.
Go ahead.
So if you went to the grocery store and you bought a bag of apples and the apples are rotten in the middle, but the outside looked fine, you would still pay for those and just be content with them?
I'm going to give you the different example, sir, not apples. I'm going to give you an example with puppies, which I have here all the time. Your pigs were not sold to you with any health guarantee. Let's start there. Dogs, cats, animals, pet animals are usually sold through a breeder or somebody that you buy from. You have a contract that says, take the dog or the cat to the vet within the next 3 days or the next 24 hours or 48 hours. Any health deficiency in the cat or dog, we will either refund your money or give you a new cat or a new dog at the discretion of either the buyer or the seller. That's what happens. Now, you had the animals at your place for 2 weeks, and I assume you have other animals. Just assume you have other animals.
I had other pigs at the time.
Just assume you have other animals, and I also assume that you have no vet report.
I do.
I'd like to see it.
Brandon hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
This isn't a vet report.
It's the bill.
I don't care about a bill. I want a report.
I don't have a report. I have a bill.
Then, sir, you're going to pay him his $720. You're going to pay him his $720. I don't care what the bill was. How does he know? How do I know what the pig picked up, the one that died, at your place over the course of a week and a half? What you said to me was you took the pigs and said, I'll pay him when I can. Now they're yours.
So I had other pigs at the time, full-grown pigs, that were ready to go. So then I brought these other piglets home. And then the one started getting sick, so then I had to separate the pigs. So then I had to spend all this time and money giving them shots, trying to keep them healthy. And then I had to build a whole separate pen to contain them because I don't want to get the full-grown pigs getting whatever disease or whatever they had.
Did you ever call the plaintiff when the first pig got sick and said, listen, this pig is sick, and I'm not sure about the other piglets that are here, and that's in the first 2 weeks. I'd like to return them to you. He didn't have any babies at the time because he had sold 5. He had 9 in the whole litter or whatever they call it. Just show me that you said to him, one got sick, it died. I'm afraid for the others, so I just as soon give them back to you and cancel this whole deal. Show me where you did that the first 2 weeks in August.
When I first picked up those pigs,
Just show me.
I don't have that.
Sir,
Because
then what
I
you're
didn't.
saying is unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable. Why do I need to burden him with these sick pigs? But I'm not going to pay for a product that I can't get anything out of.
Then you've become the lawyer for the plaintiff, the lawyer for the defendant, and the judge. You said, I bought them. I didn't pay for them. But I shouldn't have to pay for them because now I had to build a whole separate pen. I had to separate them. And this is all without advising him. All without advising him and saying to him, listen, I didn't want to buy sick pigs. It looks as if these are sick pigs. I don't want the extra responsibility. I don't have the money right now. Take them back. Show me. Show me.
I offered multiple times to take the pigs back to him and the water.
Show me. Show me within the first couple of weeks when one died, so you had to separate all of them. That's the first 2 weeks in August. That's all I want to see.
Right here.
I'd like to see it,
August
please.
17th.
Okay, great.
The one in blue.
Shh, I'm reading.
Brandon hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
This doesn't say anything about sick pigs, sir. August 16th, 17th, with the 2 dates you gave me. This was on August 17th. He says, do you have the money to me tomorrow, or I'm getting law enforcement involved? You don't say one of the pigs is sick. One of the pigs died. I'll bring them all back. You say, I'm working on getting you the money. But if this is how it is, then I will bring you back the pigs and all tonight. I have some blank coming up that has taken precedence in my finances. I'm sorry that this has been less than ideal, but this is where I am now. That doesn't say anything about pigs being sick, dying. It says, I have other things to do with my money now. That's what it says, right?
But I clearly
That's what
offered
it
to
says.
bring
Well,
the pigs back.
just a second. That's what it says. He didn't have a buyback agreement from you. Now you have the pigs. Whether they died or whether they didn't die or whether they got sick, you've had them. Now we're in January, August, September, October, November, December. We're in January. We're 6 months later. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $720. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Logan, then Brandon.
Did not expect Brandon to mention sick pigs.
They just wouldn't put on weight. They started not wanting to eat or drink anymore. Then they just got real skinny, no matter what I did or the vets did.
He never told me.
They just ended up passing away.
If it was sick, I would put them in a treated pen that I have that's actually on concrete where they cannot pick up any other diseases from the ground.
Some kind of infection.
And I make sure the animal is even safe for transport.
I wasn't going to do the blood test on him to try to figure out.
I honestly have done multiple payment plans with multiple farmers.
I shouldn't have to pay.
And I will do it in the future too.
Got frustrated.
I'm glad it's over. I don't have to chase my money anymore.
Sarah and Judy.
So I don't know a lot about pigs or farming or,
No.
or housing pigs, but I was really surprised at the profit margin that the defendant was explaining. If you buy the pigs at 40 pounds, not also great at math or word problem math questions, but if you buy a pig at 40 pounds for $160, you have to feed it all the way up to 280 pounds in order to sell it to anyone. You have to, I don't even want to think about how much food that requires to feed the pigs. But then your profit, even if he wasn't splitting it with whoever helps him cut and butcher the meat, is only $800 as a high figure. That seems like a very low profit margin to have pigs in your house and to have them in your backyard and build a pen with 5 kids. That just seems like a lot for a profit margin that I expected to be much higher. That's really labor-intensive work. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, different part of the world.
Different part of the world.
So if you don't like that part of the world, then you go to law school.
I guess.
Or you become a podiatrist.
Or you visit.
Or you
visit a
visit.
farm.
You visit a farm.
Title, Judy Justice.
Have you been cheated? Go to JUDYJustice.tv.
I just heard a big bang.
A scooter hits a car.
And that is where you hit him.
That's where he hit me with his car.
No, he can't hit you sideways, sir. Now, whosever fault this was, cars don't go sideways, they go front. Let's be serious, I don't have all day.
This is Judy Justice. Kaloyan Popyanchev is suing fellow motorist Spencer Gilbert for car damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2084, Popyachev versus Gilbert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Popyachev, you were driving in your car, 2008 BMW.
That's correct.
And that was on the 14th of November of
That is correct.
last year. Tell me what time of the day this accident happened.
It was approximately 3:15 p.m.
So daylight hours.
Yes.
And tell me where you were going.
I was going eastbound on Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills. I was driving
Eastbound on
Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills. I was driving in the right, so-called slow lane when I tried to make a right turn.
where?
It's a intersection. The name of the street is Palm Drive.
Is that intersection controlled by a light or stop sign?
No, there is no stop sign or a light.
At that intersection?
That is correct.
I assume somebody has a video or a photograph of that section that would demonstrate that there is
I do,
no
Your
light.
Honor.
You do. Is there a light or a stop sign at that intersection?
No, Your Honor, there's not.
Did you put on your signal indicating a right turn?
Yes, I did.
How far from the corner?
I can't state distance, but it was approximately 5 seconds before I reached the intersection.
Was there traffic that day?
Yes.
A lot?
Very light. It was Sunday.
So far, Mr. Gilbert, is that correct, that there was light traffic on that day?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were traveling on a motor something called a Vespa, which is a small,
Small scooter, yes, Your Honor.
but motorized.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know about these things, does a Vespa have to be registered and have a license plate on it?
I do have
It's
a
yours.
license plate on the Reddit.
Okay, so your Vespa is registered as a motor vehicle, and you have a license plate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now tell me what happened, sir.
As I proceeded to make a right turn onto Palm Drive, I just heard an airflow. It was a big bang. It was an impact.
On your passenger side?
On my right passenger side, and I realized that there was a small motorcycle or a moped that hit my vehicle.
Hit your side. And you were the person riding that Vespa?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. May I see the damage to your car?
Yes.
Kaloyan hands a photo to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Sarah Rose, get me the price of a 2008 BMW 7 Series.
Will do.
Thanks.
Judy reviews a photo of a dented passenger door.
What you're talking about is this damage, sir. Is that correct?
Yes, front passenger.
I see.
Yeah.
I've just made a circle. Can you see the circle that I've made?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And that is, Mr. Gilbert, where you hit him with your Vespa.
It's where he hit me with his car.
No, he can't hit you sideways, sir.
He sidestepped me.
He can't hit you sideways, sir. He can't slide into you. Now, whose ever fault this was, I'll try to figure it out. But you hit him because this is the area of impact. Cars don't go sideways, they go front. You have pictures of your Vespa?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Your Honor, based on a 100,000-mile BMW 7 Series, between $4,700 and $7,800 is about the range.
I just want to know, because I have to see what this kind of day. He's suing for $10,000, which is ridiculous.
A photo of a scooter in a clump of shrubbery.
That doesn't show me much, actually. Okay, so I can't see the front of your Vespa, sir. I assume that the front is the end that's damaged because I see the back.
Yeah, the front end was completely
just
collapsed.
A second. So the
from
front
impact.
of your Vespa was damaged because that's where you hit him with your Vespa.
No, Your
The
Honor,
back
that's
end
incorrect.
was not damaged, nor does it look like the sides are damaged. These are the pictures you gave me. The only thing I can't see is the front crushed end. Am I correct that I can't see the front crushed end? Okay.
Yes.
So now I'm telling you that based upon these photographs, yours and his, you hit his car. Okay, now that's the chart. Whose chart is that?
It's from the police report.
Great. Now, the police report doesn't show a bike lane there or any other lane. It shows that there's a car traveling in a car lane and the Vespa hitting. See, he can't hit. You can hit. He can't hit you. Now, tell me, sir, why is it that you were driving where you were? You were behind him initially.
No, Your Honor, I was Traveling eastbound down Sunset, heading to work. He was right next to me. When we got to Palm, he turned into me, pushed me. I barely was able to keep control of my vehicle.
Is what you're telling me that your Vespa was never behind his?
Caption coming up.
This you're not getting. I want you to get this right out of your mind. Your whole car isn't worth $10,000. Let's be serious. I don't have all day. Do you have a bill?
And later today.
And I know you're dying to tell me that there was noise there, that you couldn't live there, that it was terrible. Well, that's what happens when you live in a place with a whole bunch of other people.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Kaloyan and Spencer.
Kaloyan Papionchev claims fellow motorist Spencer Gilbert owes for car damage after hitting him with his Vespa.
Is what you're telling me that your Vespa was never behind his?
No, I was never behind his vehicle.
Do we have any other video?
I do have a dash camera video of the...
May I see it, please?
Footage of a scooter colliding with the side of a car. The scooter crashes into a clump of shrubbery.
Play it again, please. Start from the beginning. So let's go slowly. Okay. Well, it's clear to me, Mr. Gilbert, that you came up behind him. Just go back a little bit. You weren't right next to him because...
I was next to him because as he slows down to make his turn, that's when he makes contact with me.
Slow motion footage of the scooter hitting the passenger side of the car.
I was right next to him the entire time.
Impossible. May I see the police report, please?
Yes, there's actually 2 police reports.
May I see them? Was anybody given a summons on that day? Nobody. Neither party was given a summons, is that correct?
Not that I know of, Your Honor.
Judy reviews the police report.
Okay, so this is the narrative after witnesses were questioned, and the opinion based upon the witness's testimony and yours, and the fact that the police officer actually heard in the video the clicking of the turn signal indicating a right turn approximately 5 seconds before the right turn was executed according to the police officer as a result of viewing the cam that he had, the video, that he was making a slow right turn. He had turned on his signal approximately 5 seconds before, and you were coming up on him on your right. And it says, based upon the video footage, I determined that the first car, and that would be his, should not have been placed at fault for this collision because he activated his turn signal and made a safe turn to go southbound on Park Drive. The fault of the collision is on the part of Mr. Gilbert for violating 21-755 CVC, which states in part that the driver of a vehicle may overtake and pass another vehicle on the right only under conditions permitting that movement safely. I'm reading you the police report. Do you have another police report?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Prior to this or after this one?
This is the only police report that I know of.
Oh.
I wasn't aware there was 2.
Well, this was a supplementary police report. What is the date of yours?
All I have is what my lawyers gave me.
Oh, well, I'm going to show you this one, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And this one was after viewing the cam.
Yes, Your Honor, my police report predates his.
Predates it. Well, that's after the officers looked at the dash cam, heard the signal, and saw you coming up from behind. I'll take it back now. I've seen the damage on your car, sir.
Yes.
Which, while I wouldn't like to have it on my car that's 14 years old, it is on your car. It's not worth $10,000. Your whole car isn't worth $10,000, sir. So if you want to show me a reasonable estimate for fixing that, I'll be more than happy to look at it.
Yes, I do. And this estimate was given to me by the only body shop that is authorized by BMW.
Well, find another body shop for a 14-year-old car. I'm certainly not going to consider giving you anything near the value of your total car for something that is on the door of one side of the car. Have you had the car fixed, sir?
I had the entire door replaced, but it's still...
Replaced by whom?
By a body shop.
Good.
Yeah.
And if you had the whole door replaced, you must have a bill. This you're not getting. I want you to get this right out of your mind. Your whole car isn't worth $10,000. Let's be serious. I don't have all day. Do you have a bill for the door that you replaced from a body shop, which is what I said a moment ago?
No, I do not have it with me. The vehicle is still due paint and dents and scratches repair.
Well, they're going to fix the car, and if they can fix the car for $2,000, have it fixed. That's my judgment. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Spencer, then Callahan.
Certainly not happy about it.
I'm happy. It is something.
The problems that this gentleman's caused my life.
It happened in about 2 seconds.
I was like riding right next to the dude, and he just turned into me, and I went into the wall, and that was pretty much it.
I had to call 911 immediately because I wasn't sure if he's dead.
Because of what he did, I wasn't able to go to work for 2 weeks. I lost 2 of my jobs.
First thing to do is you call 911 and then deal with, the rest of the circumstances.
Sarah and Judy.
One theme that we see far too often is plaintiffs coming here or to any court asking for a large sum of money, in this case $10,000 for a car that wasn't even worth $6,000. And instead of showing us an estimate of fairy tale land of what was going to fix it, show me a receipt for what you paid to fix the damage.
Yeah, he did fix the damage.
He fixed the damage already, replaced the whole door. You don't have a receipt for that. You don't have a bill. You don't have a nothing, which leads me to believe that it was a lot less expensive than $10,000. So I thought your judgment was generous, given that he had no proof. I would have said goodbye.
Well, he did damage the car. Not that I'm going into history, but as one who has, on occasion, hit a stationary object, even allegedly hit a stationary object, and get a little nick on a bumper on a car. It's expensive to fix a car. So he had a car that looked in perfect condition. It wasn't after it was hit. He's entitled to have it look like what it looked like before.
I just felt there was sort of a bait and switch with the $10,000 estimate, but I already got it replaced.
Fixed. I think that he said that. I think that he said that unintentionally.
I also think he did.
It's okay.
Won't get one over on us.
No.
Case 2090, Oquendo versus Villa Real. All parties, please step forward.
Amber Oquendo is suing her former tenant, Nancy Villarreal, for unpaid rent.
Ms. Oquendo, you own a home.
Yes.
How large is the home?
It's 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and approximately 1,700 square feet.
When did you purchase the home?
2018.
Can I ask you what the cost was?
$225,000.
And you live there in the house, just you, with whom?
I don't live in that house. That's my rental.
You bought it as a rental?
Amber nods. Caption coming up.
Somebody was playing their music loud. It was a problem for you.
Yes.
You asked them to be quiet.
Yes,
you
Your
told her it was a problem.
Yes.
And then there was some sort of a kerfuffle. I don't know what happened. You want to tell me?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Amber and Nancy.
Amber Oquendo claims her former tenant, Nancy Villarreal, owes for unpaid rent. Nancy is countersuing for her security deposit.
Now, you bought it as a rental? You bought it as a business?
Originally, I purchased it and I lived in one room. My kids shared a room and I rented 2 rooms until I was able to establish basically a history of being a landlord. And I then purchased another home and I live in my own residence, and that one is fully a rental as of now.
And also a resident of that home are your parents?
Yes, they are in the master.
And you have another tenant there?
Yes, there are a few other tenants.
Tell me who.
So I have one tenant who has asked not to be identified by name, but he is in one room that I have marked as room number 2. And then I have another tenant who's in room number 3. And then Nancy was in room 4, and there's now a new tenant in that room.
Okay, this is what it's about. The defendant was a tenant of yours. It didn't work out. And it was a short tenancy. I think it lasted no more than a month.
Yeah, right.
Is that right? June of this year?
Yes, Your Honor.
It didn't work out. She left. It is your claim that she left owing you a month's rent. And I assume from your paperwork that the month's rent was $774.
So it was $650, and then the $774, the remaining difference was just for being served and then court costs. But month rent was $650.
$650. And when the defendant moved in the beginning of June, did she sign a lease?
Yes, and I'm just going to correct you, sorry. She moved in May 7th, so just wanted to correct that. But yes, she did sign a lease.
May I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Amber hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have a copy of your lease, Miss Villarreal?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Judy reviews the document.
So it's a month-to-month tenancy. It's an at-will with 30 days written notice. Okay. According to the lease, there was a security deposit of $650.
Yes, ma'am.
Did the defendant pay that when she moved in?
Yes, she did.
Okay, because that's your counterclaim. You say you want your security deposit back.
Yes, ma'am.
I assume from reading both of your complaint and answer that this turned out to be not a happy tenancy. You don't live there on a full-time basis. The defendant did live there for a short period of time. You moved in, rented a room, and you gave her $650, and you moved in on May 7th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct. And you moved out on what date?
I moved out on July the 7th, July the 10th.
So you were there for 2 months?
No, I was there for 1 month.
May to June, June, July. May 7th.
I moved in I believe it was June because I moved out July the 7th.
Our lease was signed on May 7th, so I know that.
Yes, the term of the lease is beginning May 7th. That's the term of the lease, according to this. So I don't care when you moved in.
Okay.
The term of the lease was May 7th on a month-to-month basis. So you were there from May 7th to July 10th. So you were there for 2 months.
Okay.
We're going to get into the whys, wherefores in a moment, but did you pay the month of May?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you pay the month of
Yes,
May?
ma'am.
Good. Did you pay the month of June?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And you lived there until July 7th?
No, I actually lived there until...
You just told me July 10th, as a matter of fact. Whitney's going to tell me what date you gave as your move-out date. You said it was July 10th.
She said, I moved out on July the 10th.
Okay, July, and it was, yes. July
So you
10th.
were there for 2 months?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, if you're there for 2 months and you only paid 1 month's rent.
Yes.
So far, you owe her 1 month's rent. Did you return her security deposit?
Yes.
Did you receive your security deposit?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much?
$650.
Okay, so you have no counterclaim. The counterclaim is for your security deposit. The rest of it is nonsense. You moved out, you wanted to pay your moving costs, your hotel fees, and everything else. That's ridiculous. Okay. So if you've received your security deposit now, what you owe her is a month's rent, which is $650. And I know you're dying to tell me that there was noise there, that you couldn't live there, that it was terrible. Well, that's what happens when you live in a place with a whole bunch of other people. Did you look at this room before you moved in?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay, so you went to the house. When you went to see the house, Amber was there. She introduced herself as the landlord. That's what it says here.
Yes.
And she let you know that she wasn't in the house, that her parents were in the house as tenants, but she wasn't in the house.
Yes.
And you moved in and somebody was making noise. Somebody was playing their music loud. It was a problem for you.
Yes.
You asked them to be quiet.
Yes,
you
Your
told her it was a problem.
Yes.
And then there was some sort of a kerfuffle. I don't know what happened. You want to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor. I am a federal employee, Your Honor. And when I signed this lease back in May, it states there, and I'm also in recovery, Your Honor, and it states very clearly in the lease that there's absolutely no smoking on the premises or no drugs on the premises, Your Honor. There was absolutely marijuana being smoked in the house. And right after I brought that to her attention, I then received a 30-day termination notice.
Okay.
Because I absolutely could not live in that house anymore with my job. I felt it was not a safe place for me.
Where did you go?
Where
Just a
did I
second.
go?
Just a second. Is that your son?
This is my son.
Okay. Does he live in the area? I know you called him and he came and helped you move.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
Who does he live with?
My son? He rents a room with roommates.
So he has roommates?
Yes.
Tell me where you went when you left. You didn't get a 3-day notice to quit. You got a 30-day notice from her that she was not renewing the lease pursuant to this.
Right.
You chose to leave in 3 days.
Absolutely.
That was your choice.
Because
you had 30 days to stay, and you had a month-to-month tenancy. Okay? You chose to leave. So where did you go?
I got a U-Haul. I didn't really have a place at the time to go, but my boy's grandmother offered her place to me, so I stayed there for a couple weeks. She said, you pay $180, I'll let you stay here for a couple weeks until I was able to find another place, Your Honor.
And then you did?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Great. Okay. So your security deposit you have, and she doesn't have her month's rent, which is $650. Are we done here? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $650. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Amber, then Nancy.
I am not aware of anyone using marijuana in my house.
There was marijuana being smoked in the house.
My dad says that he's not smelling it, so I guess I can't really attest to the legitimacy of that.
It was not a safe place for me to be.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, some people don't realize, Sarah, that if you leave a premises that you have lived in, it's like going to a restaurant and ordering a steak and then delivering the steak, you're taking a bite and say, you know, I really don't like that steak, and finishing it. and then telling the waiter you're not going to pay for the steak. I always say you ate the steak. If you're a tenant and you find the living conditions such that, you find it untenable to live there, you have a prerogative of changing your residence, but you don't live there for 2 months and only pay for 1, and then make excuses because you ate the steak.
Title, Judy Justice.
Have you been cheated? Go to Judy Justice.
An investment that went south. Where did you put that money, sir?
He was a friend of a friend. His name was Scott.
Scott what?
I can't remember his last name. My friend introduced me to Scott.
What's your friend's name?
His name is John.
This is Judy Justice. Jennifer Anderton is suing her former friend, James Sorensen, for personal training and a fraudulent investment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case 2125, Anderton versus Sorensen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Anderton, your case against the defendant is twofold. First, you claim a loan to him in the amount of $10,000. And while he doesn't deny that you gave him $10,000, it is his defense that this was not a loan, but an investment in a project that went south. It went south because somebody conned him, and thus you were conned as well. Somebody took off with the money. The second part of your lawsuit is that Mr. Sorensen is a trainer of some sort, a personal trainer, fitness trainer, and you retained him to put you on some sort of a regimen of both diet and exercise. And you paid him in advance. He wasn't forthcoming with all of the training sessions he was supposed to give you, became unavailable. You want a refund of some of that money. So the first thing I'm going to deal with in your lawsuit is the $10,000 exchange of money. If I find that that, in fact, was a loan or was fraudulently entered into as a result of being duped and being a dope, then I'm going to give you back the money. Then I don't have to get to the training because that's the limit of my jurisdiction. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, great. How did you meet him?
I met him on a dating site, actually.
When?
Early June 2021.
Did you date?
We befriended each other. And after our first meeting, that is when I had just come off of a ventilator of 10 days. I was a nurse, contracted COVID. He actually came to my home and said, I could really help you get back to where you were. I needed rehab.
Okay, so after the first meeting, you were not dating?
No.
Is that right, sir?
That's correct.
And that was in June of 2021?
Yes.
When did you, Mr. Sorensen, tell Ms. Anderton about this investment opportunity?
It was about a month into...
So 4 weeks later?
Right.
4 weeks later, you became close enough to discuss with her a business opportunity?
Yes.
And did you discuss this business opportunity with her in her home or over the phone?
In her home.
So I want you to tell me your version of exactly what you told her.
So I had a friend come to me and...
You had a friend whose name is?
His name is Scott.
Scott what?
I can't remember his last name.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
If it's true, then it didn't happen. If it's true that you can't remember his last name, it's because he doesn't exist.
Oh, he does exist.
Oh, sir, you didn't give all that money to somebody whose last name you don't know. I want you to understand that. Then you're looking at me and saying I must have stupid written on my forehead. You don't look like a stupid man.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you look like you could be a cunning man, but you don't look like a stupid man. So if Scott doesn't have a last name, he didn't exist. I want you to tell me that's in my brain. In my brain is if you can't come up with a first and last name of somebody that you gave thousands of dollars to, he didn't exist.
Okay, in your mind.
Keep going.
I'm not going to keep going and dig any holes. I'm just telling you what the facts are.
No, those aren't facts, sir. That's a fantasy. You know, you're not mentally challenged in any way, are you?
No.
I want to tell you, if I told my 9-year-old grandchild who asked me for $100 because she wanted to invest it with a friend, I would say, what's the friend's name? I don't know. So I'm not giving you $100 to invest with somebody whose name you don't know, because I'm absolutely positive that if you said that to her, she would have said, well, what's this person's name? I want you to tell me now, Mr. Sorensen, what was the investment?
It was for happy pills.
It was for what?
Happy pills.
Judy turns to Sarah.
Don't look at me.
Happy? Did you say happy pills?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about it. Tell me what you told her. You want to invest in happy pills. And
Yes.
what she'd say to you? What did she say to you? I'm a nurse, you know, so I'm an educated person. What's wrong with you? Okay, keep going. Keep going. I want to invest in happy pills.
Right.
Your friend
So
Scott.
yeah, it was a friend of a friend. His name was Scott. Okay, and he introduced me to him and said that, hey, he went.
No, you mean Scott introduced you to somebody else?
No, my friend introduced me to Scott. I didn't know his last name, but we knew that he was in the industry.
Okay, so your friend introduced you to Scott.
Yes.
What's your friend's name?
His name is John. I promise.
Where does he live?
He lives in Salt Lake.
What's his telephone number?
I have no idea what his telephone number is.
Just a second, get out your phone and tell me what your friend's telephone number is. Everybody has their friend's number in their phone.
I don't know what his telephone number is.
Then you see why I don't believe you?
not-
So, do you understand why I'm having a problem with your story?
It's okay.
Do you understand why I'm having? So a friend whose number you don't have in your phone wanted to introduce you to somebody whose name you don't know to invest in happy pills. And this is what you told her? No, I'm asking you a question. Is this what you told her? I have
Yes,
a friend.
this is what I told her.
John, I have a friend, John, who knows a guy, Scott, who has this company that's going to make happy pills. I just want to know if that's what you're trying to tell me that you told this woman.
I am. It's okay.
Judy glares at James. Caption, coming up.
I don't know why she would make up that story that
No.
my parents gave me.
No. She's not making up the story. You're making up the story.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong about this, I actually don't feel badly, sir, because then you're the dope that got duped.
And later today,
You devalued her car while you had it.
Yeah, okay.
You used the car for 2.5 years that was running. It stopped running because the engine was blown.
Yes.
And then you stopped making the payments on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whitney grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jennifer and James.
Jennifer Anderton claims her former friend, James Sorensen, owes her for a fake $10,000 investment.
Okay, keep going.
You know what happy pills are?
I assume that they make you happy.
Right. Yeah, they are. It's Molly.
I assume that they make you happy.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And so he went around to festivals and he sold Molly there.
He sold what?
Molly.
Molly's.
MDMA. It's an illegal drug.
Oh, okay. So you told her you wanted her to make an investment with you with a big return on your money.
We talked about this for a long time.
Who did?
Me and...
You can't have talked about it for a long time, sir. You only knew her 4 weeks.
Okay.
You only knew her 4 weeks. Tell me about this $10,000. Did you take it out of a savings account? Do you have that from the bank?
Yeah.
I'd like to take a look at it. You want to tell me, Miss Anderton, the circumstances surrounding you transferring $10,000 to him?
He approached me saying that he needed a hard money loan for his business. He had an e-commerce business with supplements. His father and mother had given him the loans in the past, for the past 5 years, and they've gotten a good return. It was a for sure deal. He goes around and this is their festival project time. They make a lot of money doing this.
What does he do?
For supplements.
So he sells supplements?
Yes.
And it was his business? Mm-hmm. Not
Yes.
Yes. Did he ever mention a guy, Scott, to you?
No.
It was his business?
Yes.
And he said that his parents had helped him out in the past, had invested with him in the past. So now I understand a little bit better. I see the withdrawal for $10,000. So tell me why he needed a hard money loan.
To buy the product to take to these festivals and...
Sell them.
Sell them, yes.
Okay.
So he needed it for product.
And when did he tell you that he was going to return this money?
Within a week or two. That it was a week or two of festivals. This was the busy season. He does this every year, and this is a for sure return. And if I did this much amount of money, $5,000, this is how much I'd get back. If I did $10,000, it would be a $15,000 return for me. And I'm like, wow, I could pay off my student loans. I could, yes, do a lot with that.
Okay, so to synthesize what you told me, he told you that this was an investment in his company.
A loan.
A loan, excuse me. A loan for his company for products so that he could go out, sell them for the next several weeks,
Correct.
and you would get a return of 15% on your money.
50%. So a 10...
50? 50? Sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the company.
The Venmo transfer of $2,000 was to him in June?
June 16th of 21.
And a withdrawal of $8,000.
Same day.
Okay, now, where did you put that money, sir?
I gave it to Scott.
Okay. Okay. I want to tell you, Mr. Sorensen, you have parents who gave you money?
They have in the
Just a
past,
second.
not as you
just
would
say,
say.
you have parents that gave you money.
They did not ever give me money for my business, ever.
What did they give you money for?
Christmas? They never gave, they never financed for me for anything in my life. Nothing.
Oh, then you lied about
I don't know why she would make up that story that my parents gave me.
No. She's not making up the story. You're making up the story.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong about this, I actually don't feel badly, sir, because then you're the dope that got duped.
Oh, absolutely. I know.
Then, just a second, that if you gave money to John, to Scott, then you're the dope that got duped because they were your friends. That's all I have to tell you.
I understand.
That's all. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, James, then Jennifer.
I think it was fair.
I think that was a fair judgment.
We both understood what we're getting into.
No, not until after like 3 or 4 months, and I think he brought that up in fear of me going to the police.
Time to part ways, and definitely learning curves on both ends.
Don't do silly things. It was definitely a learning curve.
I'm glad that things happened the way they did.
Something I'll never do again. Be a little more careful with your money and your investments, and don't trust everybody. I'm too trusting.
Sarah and Judy.
I just find it very funny that his entire business plan, business venture, was selling illegal drugs at festivals. That was the only plan. That was the whole venture. There was no...
That's really what he said.
Whether it was Scott, whether it was John, whether it was
But that was
Joe.
the business plan. That's Happy Pills. Thank you, by the way, for explaining what that was to me.
I didn't understand at first either, but when he said Molly at festivals, it's like, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I'm pretty sure that's not a business.
Right.
So I'm glad she got her money back.
Me too. Me too. It was ridiculous.
There was a couple dopes getting duped in that situation.
You're absolutely right.
Case 2107, Breland versus Chenal. All parties, please step forward.
Kashana and Michael Breland are suing Kashana's stepdad, Harry Schnall, for car repairs and damage credit.
Miss Breland, this is your stepfather.
Yes.
That's your dad.
Yes.
This is your claim. He needed a car because his car, which was an old Cadillac, was going in for repair. Your dad had bought you a car in 2018.
Yes.
And when he bought you this car in 2018, it was a 2013 car that you kept 18, 19, and 20?
The vehicle? No, I had the vehicle from 2018 to July 2019.
So just for 1 year?
Yep, July in 2019 was when I made the agreement to give the vehicle to...
Okay. You made the agreement to give it to your stepfather with a proviso because you were buying a new car, another car.
Yes.
According to you, that he would take over the payments on the car because there was a loan on the car that you were paying off and that your father was a signatory on.
Yes.
And you have children, and I don't know why this car was no good for you anymore, but you said you got another car because of your children.
Yes, I got another vehicle because I had an additional son and it just wasn't enough room for 3 kids.
What kind of car is it?
It was a GMC Terrain. It's an SUV 5-passenger, but I felt like I needed a little bit more room, so I ended up getting a 7-passenger. That way I could have the 3rd row.
Okay. So according to you, the arrangement was he would take over the payments on the car, and the car would be turned over to him as soon as he finished making the payments on the car.
Yes.
Was that your agreement with him?
Yes, that was our agreement.
And he did make payments on the car in 2019, 2020, 2021, and according to you, he stopped making payments in 2022. What month in 2022?
January 2022 was the last payment I received.
As a result of which, both of your credits were at risk. He dropped the car off at some relative's house because the engine was blown. He had it towed to some relative's house and stopped making the payments.
Yes, that is correct.
Your stepfather says, well, that really wasn't the agreement. My Cadillac wasn't working. It was in the shop in 2019. And the agreement was, while the car was in the shop, I would use your car and pay you $225 a month for it. But as soon as my car was out of the shop, you would take the car back. That's what you say, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I would take it back until my car got fixed. And the only reason it took so long to get fixed because of the pandemic, you know. And
why? People couldn't go into their garage to fix a car?
Yes, they probably could, but at that time, I really didn't have the money to go and pay for it, so I just
Well, that's your problem.
I understand that.
Well, that's your problem. So the car was fixed, but you didn't have the money to go and pick up the car.
No, it wasn't fixed.
Oh.
So I didn't have them fixed until I'd be able to get the money to go have it fixed.
Did you explain that to her, sir, when she gave you the car?
No, see, my agreement thought I was gonna keep the car until my car gets fixed and I would make the monthly payment. That's what I had.
I understand that, but what...
Yeah.
I understand that,
Okay.
Mr. Sheindlin.
Yes.
But taking your story, if my stepfather said to me, listen, I'll take your car, I have a car that's in the shop, I'll use it and pay for it while the car's being fixed.
Not what?
In my view, that would be, well, maybe it would take you 2 weeks. Maybe it would take you a month. Maybe it would take you 2 months, but it wouldn't take you 3 years.
Your Honor, what I'm saying, my car wasn't in the shop, my car was broke down. And I told her, I thought we had agreement to me make the payment on that car till I get ready to get
You
my
told me that already.
car fixed. But I didn't put it in the shop till I was able to put it in the shop to get fixed.
You devalued her car while you had it.
Yeah, okay.
You devalued the car. You got a car that was running. You used the car for 2.5 years that was running. It stopped running because the engine was blown.
Yes.
So it was dead stop. You had to have it towed to somebody's house.
Yes.
And then you stopped making the payments on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Right.
Caption coming up.
I think she had a lemon because...
She didn't have a lemon. You drove it for 2 years.
Yes, but I just had got the oil changed in that car a month before the engine blew.
And you drove it for 2 years.
Yes.
Well, then it wasn't a lemon.
Harry furrows his brow. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Kashana, Michael, and Harry.
Kashana and Michael Breland claim Kashana's stepdad, Harry Schnall, owes for car repairs and damage credit.
Now, you know, you have to act not only responsibly, but it would seem to me morally. This is your stepdaughter. You've known her for a long time.
Yes.
She went out, based upon her agreement with you, she went out and bought another car.
Yes.
Does the other car have a loan?
Yes.
Well, now she's stuck with 2 loans. And one of them has a car that you blew the engine on.
I made sure the main was up on that car. I think she had a lemon because...
She didn't have a lemon. You drove it for 2 years.
Yes, but I kept... Well, I just had got the oil changed in that car a month before the engine blew. I don't know why the engine blew.
How many years did you have the car?
2 years.
And you drove it for 2 years.
Yes.
Well, then it wasn't a lemon.
Okay.
How much was left on the loan of the car?
There is still $3,752.63 owed left on the vehicle.
Okay, and where is the car now?
It is parked at a relative's house.
Your problem is the car is in your name. So you have to sell the car, subject to this lien. You have to be able to get something for the car. Do you understand?
Yes.
What's the value of that car?
Based on 80,000 miles, it didn't say in the papers, but around 7,000 to 9,000.
And what if it's in very poor condition?
I have to look into it.
Take a look and see, because this car so far is not running.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been running for almost now a year.
Yes, that's correct.
So at best you can sell it for scrap. So you have to get the car and you can scrap it because nobody's going to buy it when they can't drive it.
So Kelley Blue Book will not provide an estimate for poor conditions, vehicles that are not running or in poor condition, but for a fair condition, they say between 5,000 and 6,000.
Well, this is non-running.
I know.
I've been
So
not running for a year.
I can't get an estimate for a non-running vehicle from Kelley Blue Book.
So now I know what the parameters are. You want to tell me about where this agreement took place with your stepfather?
The agreement took place at the car lots, because I was in the middle of getting a new vehicle, so we were at the car lot.
So that was in 2019?
July 3rd, 2019.
So you went with him to get the new car?
Yes.
Oh, good. So tell me about the conversation.
So I asked him, I was like, hey, do you think that, because in order for me to get this new vehicle, they said that I had a debt to income ratio thing because I couldn't get a new vehicle with owing money on the other vehicle. So I said, hey, how does this sound? You're down a vehicle because the engine blew on your prior vehicle. How about I give you this car, you finish making the payments on it, and then I get my new vehicle. But in order for me to get my new vehicle, I needed a co-signer. So I said, how about this? How about you co-sign on this new vehicle for me? Yes, my stepfather. You co-sign on this new vehicle for me. I'll make the payments like I always do, and you just take over the payments on my GMC Terrain. He said, okay, yep, we can do that because I need another vehicle.
So he is the co-signatory on your new car?
That at the time, that was the vehicle that I had. I now have a different vehicle.
You mean in 2019 you had yet another car?
Yes. But I made sure that I paid it off and there was no effect to him by any means.
Okay.
Because I knew that, you know, it wasn't just in my name, it was in his name also. So I didn't want to do that to him. So I made sure that not only did I pay the vehicle off, but I got the transmission repaired and then I sold it.
So what does your father have to do with this case?
So my father was affected because with the payments being late.
The car was in my name also.
Oh, so it was in joint
Yes, on the
names, you and your
title.
daughter?
Well, they were supposed to put it as me, the co-signer, but they put me as
The primary.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Have you been making the payments since January?
I was making payments on it from February to September.
And then what happened?
I couldn't afford to make the payments anymore. I'm a single mom of four kids.
So what happened?
So it's behind now.
Since September?
Yep, it's behind since.
September, October, November. So it's behind 3 months.
Yes.
Had they notified you that they want to repossess it?
No,
they haven't
not repo. They've given us options to try to save our credit after
Okay, I'd like to see what those options are. Did they send it to you in writing?
No.
Did they send you
it
a
was
letter?
verbal on the phone when they called, and we were discussing other options that they may offer to
Okay, so
make
what was the
this so
best
it's not
option
worse.
that they offered you?
The best option that they offered was basically to come up with about $396 to pay to get the car note caught up because it was 4 months behind. The car note's $225 each month. So it wouldn't have got...
No, so they didn't offer you a whole payout. They just offered you...
To catch up.
To catch up.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. But still, what's due and owing on the car is $3,752.
Yes.
Okay. And when your stepfather agreed to that, did he say anything to you with regard to his Cadillac going in for service and he was going to just use it until his Cadillac got...
No, Your Honor, that is incorrect.
Okay. You remember going with your stepdaughter when she was purchasing a new car in 2019?
Yes, I do.
Did you co-sign that car for her?
Yes.
So far what she says is accurate.
Yes.
And at that time, did you take her old car?
Yes.
I have no idea what you can get for this car. And you know how you relied on him to be a good guy and to do what he was supposed to do?
Yes.
I'm awarding you $3,752. That's for you to pay off the bank. Then I don't think you can find a buyer for this car. You may have to scrap it, right?
Yes.
It's possible that there's no point in fixing it. You're not going to invest thousands of dollars in fixing it when it probably is at best worth $5,000. And if it's going to cost you $3,000 to try to get it up and running, it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay. So I'm going to rely on you to do the right thing. It sounds as if you do that while I'm awarding you $3,752, whatever money you get for the car goes to him. Do you understand? If you scrap it for $70, he gets it. I don't see that it's worth much more. I certainly wouldn't invest in a car that's been sitting dead for a year with a blown engine. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,752. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Harry, then Kashana and Michael.
I think it was pretty fair.
I think it was very fair.
My agreement, though, I paid for the car until I get my car fixed.
I've tried multiple times to reach out to him, and I couldn't get a hold of him, so it's really sad that it had to come to this.
She had to do what she had to do. That's all I can say.
I've learned that you can't help anyone, not even family.
Time to move on. Go on about my business, yes.
I'm a nice person, so I guess you just sometimes can't be nice to everyone.
You know what's so disappointing? She seems like a very lovely young lady. Her father seems like a nice man. He had actually helped to purchase the first car, and I think co-signed a loan for her or bought her the car in 2018 that she then turned over to him. But he's been her stepfather for a long time. How could you be so irresponsible?
And you know she's a single parent of 4 children who relies a lot on her credit.
And her credit on her car.
And
she's maintained her credit.
Yes, except for the fact that her stepfather sort of ruined it for her a little.
He really didn't have a defense.
No.
I don't think he had a defense. I don't think that you borrow somebody's car until your car is fixed 3 years later. I don't think that that's a defense.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you having a family dispute? Go to JUDYJustice.tv.
You were hired to do some demolition work.
Correct.
You hired an unlicensed contractor without references, and you got his number from a card that he left on your windshield.
I'm not really sure, actually, 100% on where I found that card.
What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything.
This is Judy Justice. Michael Attar is suing his former clients, Mary and Michael Rhodes, for unpaid demolition work.
Judge Judy enters.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2115, Attar versus Rose.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Attar, you were hired to do some, according to you, demolition work and other work at a property owned by Mr. and Mrs. Rhodes. You gave them an estimate for that work. I think the estimate was $11,500. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it was outlined what work you were supposed to do. You started that work, and according to you, at some point there was disagreement with either or both of the Rhodeses, and they stopped payment on a check that they gave you.
Correct.
And the check that they gave you was for $4,200. And then you stopped work for them.
Yes, ma'am, we're finished.
So you're suing them for the canceled check and for other unpaid work that you did that you didn't get paid for.
Correct.
Mr. and Mrs. Rhodes say that they were not satisfied with the quality of your work. It cost them $9,000 to both replace things that were stolen from their property by either you or members of your team, something which I don't think that you question that somebody from your team, not you, somebody from your team may have taken metal property of theirs that they didn't own. So let's go back. Mr. and Mrs. Rhodes, is this a new property to you, or is this a property that you owned for a while?
It's a new property to us.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So is it a private house?
Yes, and we were remodeling it.
Okay, when did you purchase it?
We purchased in January of 2021.
Is it a single-family residence? Yes. How much did you pay for it?
$769,000.
Describe the property to me.
It's in northern Altaloma or Rancho Cucamonga. It's an acre property, has 2 levels on it, and a single-family ranch-style home on it right now. And what we asked him to do was demolition the lower half.
Do you have a photograph?
I do.
I'd like to look at a photograph of what you wanted him to do.
Mary hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
That's what the lower half looked like before.
So this whole portion you wanted him to demolish and remove the debris.
And grade flat.
Is that correct, sir?
I can't see from here, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'm going to show it to you. To demolish it, flatten it, fill it in.
Remove all the debris.
Yes.
Okay. And did you have a written contract?
We did not.
Well, that's always a mistake.
Always.
How did you find him?
I believe I got his business card. It was on my personal car, I think at Home Depot. We had bought this house, and we tried to find somebody to do the work, but...
Mr. Rhodes, let me tell you that the best way to find somebody is not somebody who leaves a card on your car at Home Depot or any place else.
Yeah.
It was a difficult time to find contractors with COVID and everything at that time.
And at the time, I'm also going to add, because I read in the paper somewhere at the time, he didn't have a license.
He did not.
And you knew he didn't have a license.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I told him, Your Honor. I do not
Just a second. They didn't say, no, we didn't know. They said, we knew. So you got somebody who had no license to do what you wanted him to do, and you got his number from a card that he left on your windshield. Did you ask for references? That's either a yes or a no.
No, and I'm not really sure, actually, 100% on where I found that card. I think it was...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean...
But he did tell us he was in the process of getting his license, that it was coming.
Yeah. I know.
What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. You're two intelligent people. Okay. So you hired an unlicensed contractor to do work on your house and agreed to pay him $11,500. Now, Mr. Attar, the $11,000 included labor and materials. Is that correct?
There was no material. It was labor and bins.
Well, that's material, labor and bins to remove
Yes, ma'am.
all the equipment that you needed
Yes, ma'am.
to complete the job.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Of before, too. Of what I was supposed to do, and I took a picture.
Well, no, I have that.
You have the wrong picture, Your Honor.
Okay, I'd like to see the picture that he has.
Kevin retrieves a photo from Attar, then hands it to Judy.
I was supposed to do from the post all the way to the other post, remove everything, and the pool and the deck.
Mr. Attar, the $11,500 was an all-inclusive figure.
Yes, Your Honor.
One of the things that became an issue is a bobcat.
Correct.
From what I'm piecing together, you hired somebody in a bobcat to do a bobcat. That's a big piece of equipment that knocks down something.
I rented a bobcat.
And somebody who operated it.
My worker.
You didn't know how to operate the bobcat.
I know how to operate bobcat, but I was controlling the demolition site, ma'am. I was like many things were going at the same time. I had to control everything.
Mr. Attar, something happened with the bobcat, the original one that you got. What happened with it?
It broke down on us.
No, it didn't break down on them. It broke down on you.
On us.
It broke down on you.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I took it back, and next day supposed to deliver me another one, but they sent me a drunk driver and another broken down bobcat. I returned it. At that moment, I asked Mrs. Rhodes, can you please go down Home Depot, which is like a mile away, so we don't stop wasting time, rent a bobcat or not.
Just a second. Why should she rent a bobcat, sir? Your $11,500 included the bobcat.
But I paid for the
No. If you're going to pay for it, that's one thing. Then what are you sending her for? If your $11,500 figure included all materials, then she doesn't have to rent a bobcat. If you rented one that didn't work, rent one that works. How much of a down payment did they give you?
Presume was $4,000.
When did you start the job?
I started the job on 15th of January.
When did you leave the job?
I was asked to leave on the 2nd of February.
On February 2nd?
Yes, ma'am. Not to go back, I'll call the cops on you.
Between January 15th and February 2nd, other than the $4,000, did they give you any other money?
Yes, Your Honor, they did.
How much money did they give you?
They gave me up to $7,000.
So they gave you an additional $3,000?
Yes, and $1,000 check.
Your Honor, that was within the first week we gave him.
It doesn't matter to me. My question was between January 15th and February 2nd, they gave you $7,000.
Correct.
Explain the other $4,200, which is the check that they stopped payment on.
Okay. I'll happily explain to you. The bobcat she rented for me on her behalf, it cost $329 to rent per day. And I rented for 1 day only, but they charged me $800.
No, that's not correct.
Just a second. I didn't ask you anything.
Okay.
Caption, coming up.
Do you have a photograph of what the property looked like when you left?
Yes, ma'am. The last picture I took before I was kicked out of the property.
You're talking, I'm not listening to you.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Attar and Mary and Michael Rhodes.
Michael Attar claims his former clients, Mary and Michael Rhodes, owe for unpaid demolition work. Mary and Michael are countersuing for lost wages, equipment rental, and missing property.
Now, they paid you $7,000.
Correct.
They wrote you another check.
The final check was supposed to be $5,000, but they only gave me $4,200 because they mined $800 for the bobcat rental.
Just a second. First of all, the total bill wasn't 7 and 5. 7 and 5, even my rudimentary math, is $12,000. That would be $500 more than your agreed contract, which was for $11,500.
They gave me $6,500 because they gave me small checks. They gave me the first initial
Just
check,
a second.
They gave me smaller ones.
Sir, you're the businessman, whether you have a license or not. I asked you before, how much money did they give you between January 15th and February 2nd? And you said $7,000.
I didn't write it down, Your Honor.
Well, you're here asking for money, and you have to write it down. You have to have
work
some.
I've done performed already. And I
No,
just
no, sir.
And I just did the job, Your Honor. I did 7, 8 other side jobs for them.
I don't care whether you did 7 or 8 side jobs. Your original agreement with them was for $11,500, including all material. Now, what you said to me was that they gave you $7,000, and you said they're supposed to give me another $5,000. Well, another $5,000 is more than your quote.
Ma'am, the balance was $5,000.
How?
The initial check, then they gave me $1,000, $1,000.
How much money did you give them all together that he cashed?
$7,000.
Then they owed you $4,500. pursuant to your agreement?
We agreed to 11,000, not 11,500.
11.5, Your Honor.
Anybody have any proof of
No,
what
no,
the
no.
agreed amount was?
We had a verbal contract with me, Mr. Rhodes.
Fine. I will indicate that it's $11,500. If they gave you 7, they don't owe you 5. They owed you the difference between 11.5 and the 7 that they gave you. Now, one of the things that you disputed, Mr. Attar, was this Bobcat. Who paid for the Bobcat? Show me.
They minus it from the final price.
Just a second. Was that an argument?
The argument about is, Your Honor, is they rented for 1 day, but they charged me 2 days, $800. There's no Bobcat rental for $800 for 2 days. I got.
Do you have the bill for the Bobcat?
I do, yes. And it was for 2 days.
Go over a certain time.
Because it was returned late. So they charged a second day. But in his text messages, he did request it for 2 days.
Mary hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Is that the total price?
Yes, and I did not subtract it from his payment.
Total contract was $652.74?
Yes.
Do you have a photograph of what the property looked like when you left?
Yes, ma'am. The last picture I took before I was kicked out of the property.
You're talking, I'm not listening to you. Just show me a picture.
Yes, ma'am.
Attar hands a photo to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
This is not a picture.
Mr. Attar, you're the businessman.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your company.
Yes, ma'am.
Company requires A, a license before you operate, which you didn't have.
If you do.
B, it requires a written contract. You're the businessman. They're people who bought a house who got your number off a windshield someplace. You're the businessman, and you want the parameters. You want them fixed. So I don't know if it's 11,000 or 11.5. Do you understand?
Very much, Your Honor.
Right. Well, that's your mistake. You look as if you've probably been in business for a long time.
14 years.
And is what you're telling me you don't have written contracts?
All my contracts are verbal.
Then how many times have you been in court, sir?
Never.
Never.
I never had a stop payment check. Never
Well,
paid me on time, Your Honor.
It's the problem. So when you finished, the debris wasn't all removed.
That wood, they kept telling me, don't touch it. Their neighbor, cousin, whoever's going to come pick it up. That was just cut cord wood.
No. There's brick, there's wood, there's cement.
We cleaned all that. I personally cleaned all that.
Just a second. What I asked you, Mr. Attar, was show me a picture of the property when you left. This is the picture that you showed me.
That was the last, before I had more work, I came in and did more. I wasn't taking pictures. I wasn't expecting somebody to stop payment on a check, Your Honor. I was not expecting that.
What it looked like when he left.
Mary hands a photo to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Well, what are you showing me here? This brick that's here?
They piled it there and then left it there.
Well, that's probably a good one.
No, it was supposed to be removed.
So this is the back.
That's the picture of the sagging patio because he removed part of the supports that were holding up the patio that he wasn't supposed to. So it's now sagging.
Now, this is the picture that you gave me when you told me this is what you wanted, leveled, cleared, and made flat.
Right.
Now, I want to see your picture of what this looked like when he left.
You have it. It's in some of those photos.
Flat's leveled.
You're talking about this?
Yeah.
That's part of it. The close-ups, that's part of it.
Well, it looks like most of the stuff is done. It looked like a lot of cleanup left.
No, ma'am, we've done all the cleanup.
Well, I haven't seen that, so then what you're supposed to do is take a photograph.
It was also buried underneath. These are the photos of when we did it ourselves and really leveled it out. And as we were doing that, we found so much buried underneath that should have been removed, but his Bobcat person buried it all.
Your Honor.
Mean buried
all the debris, all the concrete brick.
Okay, let me see the bill from the...
No, we did it ourselves. We rented equipment and did it ourselves on his vacation.
Oh, nice. Okay, $4,500 is so far what's owed on this contract. Now, your counterclaim is money owed for lost work, equipment rentals, labor and missing damages to property. What money owed for lost work?
During the second week that he was working, he called and said that his crew had left. This was the second day of supposed to be use of the Bobcat that I rented.
Okay, if you interrupt me again, I'm just dismissing your case. Do you understand?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
So
just explain lost work. Who's lost work?
His.
Oh, forget it.
Well, he called and said his crew left.
Forget it.
He can't finish the job.
You weren't living there.
Not yet, no.
You weren't living there. Okay. He wants to go, go. I'm not interested in his lost wages for taking care of his house. So far, you owe the man the balance on his contract unless you had somebody else do it, which is absolutely fine. And I would look at that removal of debris, what it costs you, and you're absolutely entitled to that. Deducted from what you owe him, which is $4,500.
But he didn't finish the job.
Just a second. You tell me, how am I supposed to gauge how much of the job he didn't finish? Did he not complete $2,500 worth, $3,500 worth, $1,500 worth?
I think the $7,000 we paid him was overpaid. He didn't have to end up removing an entire pool. He only had to remove...
That's your problem. Just a second. I read that. You said it's not a big pool. It wasn't 8 feet. It was only 24 inches. He gave you a price to level everything. Nothing delineated, nothing in a written contract. The pool turns out to be 2 feet instead of 6 feet or 2 feet instead of 8 feet. Well, if he was the contractor and he came out and he looked at the pool, he said, oh, this is an 8-foot pool, and it turned out it's a 12-foot pool, he'd be stuck with 11.5, just like you're stuck with 11.5 because it was shallower. Now, you owe him $4,500 unless you want to produce for me bills that you have for rental equipment, et cetera, and I will absolutely deduct that from the $4,500. Just give me the bills and the amount of equipment. Don't say nothing, Mr. Retard. Mr. Rhodes, did you rent a Bobcat?
The one that I cleaned up the yard with?
Yes.
I rented a piece of equipment.
Jump up!
Yes.
Caption coming up.
And you know how they pick up metal?
No, I don't know that, sir. I'm a television personality. I don't know about people driving down the street to pick up metal. I've never had somebody drive down the street and say, I'm looking for metal. They don't even come down my street and ask if I want sharp knives.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Attar and Mary and Michael Rhodes.
Michael Attar has accused his former clients, Mary and Michael Rhodes, of refusing to pay for demolition work. Mary and Michael claim he never finished the job and stole their property.
Now, what did you rent?
A skip loader.
That's different from a Bobcat.
Yes, that's correct.
Smaller?
I would say bigger.
Bigger. And do you remember how much it cost you? Did you rent it from Home Depot?
No. It's from a local rental yard. I think it was
All the equipment we rented
in Ontario.
was $1,300.
Yeah.
Find it.
Yeah.
Find the bill.
They didn't print it, so now I gotta.
How many days did you have it, Mr. Rhodes?
4.
I'm dismissing your counterclaim, Mrs. Rhodes. Do you want to know why? Because I asked him a specific question, and you answered. Do you understand? Do you understand? That part of your counterclaim, because you don't have it, you can't find it. So far, you owe him $4,500. Not $8,600, but $4,500. Now, do you have any proof that Mr. Attar or someone from his team stole copper piping or whatever piping that you claim was missing? Do you have any proof that either Mr. Attar or anyone under his authority took property from you?
Yes. We have text messages back and forth.
Okay, I'll read them.
Mary produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay, so what you're referring to with regard to the stolen property is you send a picture and there's a little piece of pipe there, one piece of pipe, and you say, Mike, did you or you guys happen to grind off 2 metal poles and concrete blocks? The kids use those for volleyball nets. And he says, oh my God, no, sir, but I'm guessing the person whom I gave my metal to, no problem, Michael, please give, and I don't see the rest of this message.
Yes, so that was the beginning of things we noticed that were missing.
Oh, I don't care.
And
If this is what you're talking about?
Yes, he's saying he let a metal person onto our yard, and they went and took everything that was metal.
Okay.
Attar shakes his head.
Okay, now, Mr. Attar.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want you to tell me about the missing metal on this property.
She was standing right there, and there was a metal guy that drives down the street. And you know how they pick up metal?
No, I don't know that, sir. I'm a television personality. I don't know about people driving down the street to pick up metal. I've never had somebody drive down the street and say, I'm looking for metal. They don't even come down my street and ask if I want sharp knives.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Very much, Your
Do you
Honor.
understand?
Very much, Your Honor.
Okay. Who is this person?
This person was picking up metal, and I
Just a
asked for permission. I said, ma'am,
Just a
could he come
second.
down the property?
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Was this person picking up metal for nothing?
Yes,
Just a second. Yeah. You're a business guy. Mr. Rattar, somebody drives down the street and says, you know, I see you're doing construction. Is there any metal around here that you want me to dispose of?
Yes, ma'am. They do a lot.
Yes. And then they look around. This is what you tell them. They look around and they take the metal for nothing.
Yes, ma'am. This would be cheaper for me instead of load it on my trailer and take it to the recycling metal yard.
So what metal did they take, sir? I assume
Everything
you watched.
that I gave him.
What
was
did you
right
give
there.
them?
Nobody went up there and cut no poles, ma'am.
Well, they sent you a picture of a pole, sir, and in response to the picture of the pole, you said, oh my God, I'm guessing the person whom I gave my metal to.
I'm guessing.
No problem. And then you say later, tell me what it is, and I will either look high and low to get it back or replace it. That's what you say.
Yes, I offered to replace it.
That's what you say.
I offered to
Okay.
replace it.
Now, next question. I need an itemized list and what the value was of the metal taken.
No, there's a list of everything. They're listed in there.
Mary hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
What is this?
Those are all the damages, but the metal is listed in there separately of the items that are missing.
No, it isn't. This is a whole bunch of other things that you prepared for this case.
It's in there underneath. There's the horse feeder. Part of the corral was cut
But
off.
this is something that you wrote yourself.
Yes, you
This
said an
isn't
itemized
this isn't
list.
If they took 6 feet of pipe, get me a bill from Home Depot for the replacement of that pipe.
Oh, I have
all the bills for the replacement of metal, not what you prepared for this litigation.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Itemized list.
Mary hands another document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Did you take down a horse corral?
No, Your Honor, I did not take no horse corral. I have nothing
Horse
to
corral,
do.
is that metal or is it?
It's made out of galvanized metal, yeah. They cut pieces off of that were sticking up to take to recycle, I guess.
Just a second. Was there a 4-sided horse corral?
Yes.
That looked like this?
Yes.
That they took down?
They cut pieces that were sticking up above the horse corral, attached to the horse corral.
You're being petty. You're being petty. $306, Ram's price, galvanized wall-mounted horse feeder. Did you take a horse feeder?
No, Your Honor, I got no...
Yo, Mr. Rattar, $4,500. Judgment for the plaintiff. Counterclaims dismissed. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Mary then Attar.
Well, his equipment broke, and he wanted us to rent the equipment for him.
Equipment died because things break down.
And then the next day, he calls and says he can't finish it.
At that moment, I didn't have a credit card to my name. And that's the honest truth.
So we pretty much figured that was job abandonment at that point.
I'm gonna have a written contract in the future.
Don't hire
Always
him.
hire a professional.
Sarah and Judy.
I could not believe that your first question to him when he said that he'd been working as a contractor for 14 years was, and you've been working all 14 of those years unlicensed?
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for the
Yeah.
question. I was
Yeah.
waiting at the edge of my
Different
seat, and it
minds.
never came.
Different minds. Yeah. Should have slipped me a note.
I should have.
You should have slipped me a note. No, that actually didn't cross my mind, but that's a good question.
Yeah, oral contracts and no license.
No license, but there's no question. He did the work.
Yeah, no, I
He
agree.
did the work, and they were really dickering over who was going to absorb the cost of this second Bobcat that they had to get, which was really ridiculous. If they had had another contractor who came and completed the job,
You would have awarded that.
I would have deducted it from the $4,500 that they owed him. But absent that, the fact that he rented some sort of piece of equipment and came and cleaned up the property was not important to me, and the rest of their case was nonsense. Next time, they won't employ somebody for $11,000 from a card from your windshield.
At Home Depot.
From
Anywhere.
wherever, and not say, okay, listen, maybe I'll give him a shot. Give me 3 of your last references to call.
It's a good lesson to people out there,
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're done.
Title, Judy Justice.
Have you been cheated? Go to JUDYJustice.tv.
হ্যালো গাইস হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ কি অবস্থা গাইস আমরা জোন পুশ করতে করতে একদম লাস্ট জোনে চলে এসেছি তোমরা সবাই লাইক শেয়ার করে দাও গাইস এই যে দেখছো হ্যাকার আমার কাছে মনে হচ্ছে যে আমি নিজেই মনে করো যে হ্যাকার মনে হচ্ছে আমার কাছে বট প্লেয়ার আছে আছে বট প্লেয়ার আছে দেখছো হেড মারছে দেখছো ওই দেখো হেড মারছে তোমরা তো আমার কথা বিশ্বাস করো না এখন দেখছো
ভাই কি হ্যাকার পড়ছে ভাই গাই নাও ভাইয়া গাই নাও ভাইয়া তুমি জুম্পুর সাথে তোমার কোনো কান্দার দরকার নাই জুম্পুর সাথে কোনো কান্দার দরকার নেই ভাইয়া ভাইয়া না লাভে বসেন মুকুল ভাইয়া লাভে বসেন
আমি জোন